This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call the September 2nd Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. At this point, I just ask you to stand and we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So you say along with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
God, its will with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Great, thank you. So for those that are new to this process, I ask that everybody please mute your microphones. And if you don't, and I hear some background noise, I will mute it on this end if we're not speaking to you. At each time during the application or each application, I'll ask if someone from the public wishes to speak. At that point, please unmute yourself and just state your name so we know who we're talking to. Same goes for the applicants. If we're not hearing your case and you're not speaking as part of the public portion, we ask that you keep your microphone muted. And we're going to hear the items as they're listed on the agenda. If you can see my screen, which it looks like you can. There's going to be just a change. We're going to listen to the Orange Bank application first, just to help the attorney on that case with the scheduling conflict. And the rest of these we'll hear in the order that they're listed. Everyone will be sworn in. If you're speaking from the public, you'll be sworn in as well. So I think that's it. So I'm going to do a roll call to make sure that all the applicants are here. When I say your application name, please just unmute yourself and identify yourself of who's going to be representing you or on the for the applicant. So Orange Bank.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Brian Quinn. Also have John Bartolotta from Orange Bank, and I believe we also have Joe Thompson, our architect.
Good evening. I'm sorry, is Joe
Thompson.
Thompson? That's great. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Robinson.
Hi, this is Darren Robinson, homeowner.
Stampone. Stampone, is there somebody representing Stampone?
Yes, I'm in.
And what's your name?
Nicola Stamponi.
Okay. And Kaufman Campgrounds.
Donald Brenner representing Kaufman Campgrounds, and we have our engineers here from DTS.
Okay, who are they? Do you know? Just give me some first names there, Don.
The parties will be Jerry Schwabel and Donna Mayallo.
Thank you. Hayun.
Michael Esme for the Hayens.
Lane Subdivision.
Hi, Stuart Stroh. I'm the engineer for the applicant.
The applicant, Ed Lane is the applicant, and I'm sitting here with the
Oh, sorry, somebody's just speaking. I couldn't hear what they said.
Margaret Lane Blau. Ed Lane is here on behalf of his application for the Park Avenue subdivision.
I heard Margaret and Ed Lane.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's good. Great. So I make a motion that so again, if this is in your application, please mute yourselves while we go through the agenda. So at this point, I make a motion to open Orange Bank and Trust site plan.
Second.
Second by Rob. All in favor, Dan, aye. Rob?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Tommy?
Aye.
And Mike? Great.
I
I have a notarized affidavit of posting and a disclosure certificate and several letters of correspondence. The first dated July 9th, 2020 from the Rockland County Department of Planning. The County of Rockland Department of Planning has reviewed the above item, acting under the terms of the above GML powers and those vested by the County of Rockland Charter. I, the Commissioner of Planning, hereby disapprove. The town zoning standards are reasonable and should be followed. The total sign area of 26.81 square feet proposed by the applicant is 223% greater than the 12 square foot permitted. The granting of this variance can set a precedent and encourage nearby commercial uses along the county highway to request similar exemptions. The resulting proliferation of oversized signs will have an adverse effect on the safe and efficient flow of traffic along the county highway. If your board finds there is a pattern of requests for sign variances and that some rationale exists for lessening the town standards, we suggest a recommendation be made to the town board to revise the sign standards on parcels that front high volume traffic corridors. The following comments address our additional concerns about this proposal. A review must be completed by the Rockland County Department of Highways, any concerns addressed and all required permits obtained. The town of Clarkstown is one of the reasons this proposal was referred to this department for review. The municipal boundary is 155 feet north of the site, as required under section 239 NN of the state general municipal law. The town of Clarkstown must be given the opportunity to review the proposed variance and provide any concerns related to the project to the town of Orangetown. Signed, Douglas J. Schutz, Acting Commissioner of Planning. And then I have a letter dated August 28th, 2020 from the Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, and they do not object to the plan as shown.
Hey,
Signed,
Sean, come here.
Signed, Joseph LaFiandra, Engineer 2. A letter dated August 21st, 2020 from the Rockland County Health Department. We have received an application as prepared by J. Greenwell, PLS, revised through June 2020 for the above referenced project. Based on the information provided, there are no Rockland County Department of Health approvals needed for this application. Signed, Elizabeth Mello, PE, Senior Public Health Engineer. A letter dated July 23rd, 2020 from the town of Clarkstown. And after a brief discussion, they have determined that the determination should be left to local determination. And then I have a sign off from Rockland County Highway Department, Dion Residuham, Engineer 3. He has no comments at this time. That's it for correspondence.
Great, thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian Quinn, John Barola, and Joe Thompson. Please unmute your microphones. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
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 Great. Thanks. So this is ZBA number 20-56, application of Orange Bank and Trust site for a variance from zoning code chapter 43 of the town of Orangetown Code, CO District, section 3.11, column 5, number 6. Total sign area shall not exceed 12 square feet. Proposed monument is 26.81 square feet, and proposed facade for signage
Right.
is 21 square feet.
Right.
If you're not if this isn't your application, again, I just ask you to mute yourself because I'm muting a lot of people here. Hold on one sec. So I see John, I see Joe, and I see Brian. Everybody else should be muted. For monument and facade signs at a proposed new bank. The proposed bank shall be located 374 South Middletown Road, Nanuet, New York, and is identified in the Orangetown tax map. This section 64.17, block 1, lot 78 in the CO zoning district. All right, Brian, can you walk us through the sign, please?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan, members of the ZBA. Good evening. Brian Quinn, the attorney for the applicant. This is a proposed new bank branch at 374 Middletown Road, across the street from the old Pfizer campus. Last time the building was occupied was probably more than a year ago. I live very close to this. I drive past this place all the time. This had been the site of the Roosters restaurant, which was there kind of briefly, about a year, maybe year and a half, and I think the building's been empty ever since. So Orange Bank and Trust is interested in opening up a new bank branch in Pearl River. It is in the CO zone. I know that the ZBA members usually go visit the site, so I'm going to guess that you have also been out there, and you could see there are a number of other commercial structures very close to this that have rather large signs. And I'm going to turn this over to Joe in a couple of minutes because he's done a pretty thorough analysis of the existing signage that was there and what's being proposed, and also signage from adjoining property owners. The Rockland County Planning Department has expressed concern about a precedent, but I think once you see that what is already there, that horse left the barn a long time ago. What we're proposing is actually a pretty nice reduction in the existing signage at the place. But I'm going to let Joe take you through there. But the proposal really is to take an existing empty building, make a nice bank branch out of it, and I think it'll be attractive addition to this location. Joe, could you kind of walk us through the existing signage and what's being proposed over there?
Certainly. Thank you, Brian. Good evening, everyone. As Brian had stated, this is a proposal to help facilitate signage for the rehabilitation of the existing building that's been vacant, formerly occupied by the Rooster Cafe. The application proposes a major overhaul of the building facade for aesthetic improvement, and then also to remove an existing large non-conforming sign. And again, this application actually results in a total reduction of signage proposed for the site. We think done much more tastefully and better implemented than the current signage, and also improves visibility and sight distances entering and exiting the site. What might be most helpful to understand this site in context with its surroundings and the proportions of the signage is if we could bring up the analysis that we just sent into the town earlier today. We took some measurements of some neighboring signs and sort of evaluated how this property would fit into context with surroundings. You could scroll to the first sheet, please. That's on the left, photograph the current conditions of the site. There's a large pole sign that currently exists. And what we're proposing to do is reconstruct the mansard roof, refinish the facade, provide new facade signage, which currently it just has window decals from the former occupant, and replace that pole sign with a lower lying stone finished monument on the bottom right of the screen in the rendering. So what we did is we usually try to propose what we believe is a reasonable amount of signage that will be legible from the street to appropriately identify the building. That's important for a bank to be successful in this location, given the road and the speed that you're traveling as you pass by the bank. And so on the following slides, we performed an evaluation to compare this in context with our neighbors. Ultimately, what our proposal entails is a reduction from what's currently 91.6 square feet of signage on the site down to under 40. To the original drawings show 39.8 square feet, so a reduction of over 50 square feet to less than half of what currently exists. Evaluating a number of the neighboring properties, the average of the properties to the right and left of ours on the same side of the street is 170 square feet. So over double what the site currently has, and what would be almost 5 times the amount of what we're proposing. So we believe that contextually that this is not inappropriate for the neighborhood and wouldn't result in any negative impact. If anything, this is, in our eyes, a significant positive improvement aesthetically, and again, overall results in a reduction. So we hope that the board will consider this, again, to help facilitate the bank to open up the new location here.
Thank you, Joe. Just for additional background, we have already been to the planning board. We were there at the May 27th, 2020 meeting. At that time, they issued a negative declaration and also granted us preliminary. So the next step was to come to this board for the only variance that's needed is for the sign. We are currently on the calendar for Akabor I believe in 2 weeks, and then hopefully we'll be returning to planning for final approval. Mr. Bartolotta, who's the president of the Rockland Division of Orange Bank and Trust, is anxious to get the bank branch opened and start getting depositors in from Pearl River. And we do think that this will be an improvement to the existing conditions that are over there. But we welcome any comments or questions that the board or the public may have.
I don't have any questions. Does anybody from the board? Has presented well.
I
No,
don't,
I don't have any questions.
Nothing from here.
Yeah, no, it looks really nice. It's a good change.
Well, thank you. I live in Pearl River, and I think it will be an improvement, but that's just one man's opinion.
Great.
We do need an override, just because of the comments from county planning. It's kind of an interesting thing because CO zone only allows 12 square feet, and if you think about it, it's very small, and virtually every other adjoining property that's in the same zone has far more than what's allowed. And it's interesting that county planning commented that maybe the town board should consider amending their 12 square feet, but I'll leave that to smarter people than me.
Well, it's something typical we get, and I welcome the town to modify that section of the code. So.
Sure. You guys have enough on your calendar already.
So it's above my pay grade, or Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, great. At this point, I'll open it up to the public. If you want to be heard on this matter, on this application, please unmute your microphone and state your name. So I'll ask 3 times, and if I don't hear or see somebody trying to speak, or if we don't see something pop up on chat, we're going to move forward. So for the second time, if you want to be heard on this matter, please unmute yourself. And if you want to be heard on this matter, please unmute yourself or send a chat. Okay, hearing and seeing nothing, I'll make a motion to close.
Second,
Dan is Mike. It says that chat is disabled by the organizer. Is that? So you might not be able to, if anyone did want to send something, I don't know.
right.
So-
Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out, Mike. Let me see. Can you send me something, Mike? Hi, Mike. Do you see mine?
It says it's disabled. When I click on it, it says disabled by organizer.
Denise, you're an organizer, so that doesn't really count.
Now a number is coming. Now a number's coming up.
I don't get anything.
Matt, are you still on?
I have number 2.
It's up now.
It's
It's
okay.
up now. Just popped up. Thank you.
Oh, there you go. All right, great. I will pass it back to the public. So I'll give you another 3 chances. If you want to be heard, please speak or chat to us if you're unable to. Going once. Going twice. Jordan Baker looks great. Thank you. And going a 3rd time. All right, hearing or seeing nothing. Now I'll affirm that motion to close.
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor? Dan, aye. Tricia,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike.
All right.
Great, thank you. Denise Secra.
Okay, with regard to ZBA 20-56 applicant Orange Bank and Trust site plan, since the planning board noticed its intent to declare itself lead agency and distributed that notice of intention to all involved agencies, including the ZBA, who consented or did not object to the planning board acting as lead for these applications pursuant to coordinated review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, Regulation 617.6B3. And since the planning board conducted a secret review and on May 27th, 2020, as set forth in PB number 20-18, rendered an environmental determination that no significant adverse environmental impact would result from the proposed land use action. The ZBA is bound by the planning board's negative declaration and cannot require further secret review. If you have no questions or comments, a board member can adopt my legal opinion as a motion.
Whoops. Decline.
Sorry, I was on mute. I so move. Can I get a
I
second?
didn't get that. Could you try
Second.
again?
Second by Mike. Hold on, somebody's chatting. All in favor? Dan, aye. Trish, I'm sorry, Mike,
Aye.
Tricia,
Aye.
Tommy,
Aye.
and Rob?
Aye.
Great, thanks. I make a motion to approve the application for Orange Bank and Trust site with an override for the county letter. The sign is in keeping with the area of the town, and I don't see it as a detriment to the surrounding areas.
Second.
Second by
Second.
Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
And Tom.
Aye.
Great. All right. Thanks a lot, Brian. Have a good night.
Well, thank you very much and really appreciate your accommodating us with our conflict and schedule. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
You got it. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Just a comment, if I could, having Brian Quinn, Jay Greenwell, and Joe Thompson, I don't think we could have found three finer people to help us through this application. So I thank them and I thank you all.
Great. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I make a motion to open Robinson.
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia.
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Rob.
Aye.
Great. Debbie.
I have a notarized affidavit of posting and a disclosure certificate and several letters of correspondence. The first dated August 22nd, 2020 from the Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, and they do not object to the plan as shown. Signed, Joseph LaFiandra, Engineer 2. A letter dated August 19th, 2020 from the Rockland County Department of Health, and should the board require a stormwater management system to remediate the increase in impervious surface, application is to be made to the RCDOH for review of the system for compliance with the county mosquito code. Signed, Elizabeth Mello, PE, Senior Public Health Engineer. And I have a memo from Rockland County Planning Department stating that this application is not in their purview. And I have a sign off from Rockland County Highway Department dated 7/27/2020 from Dion Rusijahan, and he says this project is out of his jurisdiction. And then I have a letter dated August 24th, 2020. To whom it may concern, we are aware that our neighbors, Darren and Fiona Robinson at 149 Pierce Parkway, are trying to obtain a variance for their home construction project. We support their remodel and believe it will benefit our neighborhood. We feel the remodel will not have any adverse physical or environmental effects on our street. On the contrary, we are confident it will add character and value to our neighborhood. Thank you for your time, and this is signed by Maureen Falsetto, 146 Pierce Parkway. Jose Salce, 40 Meadow Street, Michael Dunnigan, 46 Meadow Street, and Dennis Tarrant, 52 Meadow Street. And that's it for correspondence.
Great. Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
All right. Darren Robinson, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please unmute
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. All right. Tommy.
Okay, ZBA number 20-51, application of Darren and Fiona Robinson for a variance from zoning code, chapter 43 of the town of Orangetown code, R15 district, group M, section 3.12. Column 4, floor area ratio 20% permitted, 37.13% proposed. For an addition to enlarge the existing kitchen and replace an old garage with a new two-car garage. As an existing single-family residence, the premises are located at 149 Pierce Parkway, Pearl River, New York, and is identified in the Orangetown tax map as section 69.09, block 3, lot 21 in the R15 district. If the Robinsons could walk us through this project, that would be very helpful.
Sorry.
Walk us through the process.
As far as start to finish, we have an existing garage there right now that will be demoed. And the new garage will be new foundations put in further away from the house, but still staying away from the neighbor's property around 5.5 feet, 6 feet, I think. Then the addition for the kitchen, there'll be there's nothing there right now. It'll be a new foundation, and it's just for the kitchen only. I think then there's also the siding. The house is getting re-sided also. Is there any questions that if I left anything out?
Your current floor area ratio is what?
I'm not. I would need to check. So I'm sorry. Current is. Sorry. Give me 1 second. The drawings are tiny.
There it is.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to read. It's the same thing on mine. I don't have the larger plans, so I
Looks like
I think the existing is 13,092, and required is 15,000. Is that right?
no, that's the opposite. So it looks like, is that a 218?
I think it's 0.218.
Yeah, I think it's 0.218 to 0.247.
Proposed. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So this is wrong.
It's just a little bit undersized, but it's only 88 foot across the front of that.
No, yeah, Tommy, the posting's not right.
It says 37.13.
I think it's 3,713 square feet for.
That didn't make sense.
Oh, well, then this is wrong.
Yeah, so that should be 0.247.
It should be, yes, there was a mistake. The building inspector has it marked down as 3,713, but that's the square footage of everything with the garage. The total floor area ratio is going to be 0.247.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
That's
I drove past you. All right, thank you.
God, how did he miss that?
That's pretty big. That's a pretty big difference.
Big mistake.
Okay, so Tommy, if you're gonna make a motion on this, just make sure you identify that it's 3,713 square feet with the garage and the 0.247,
Gotcha.
and not the 37.13 that the inspector wrote down.
I'd just like to request that in the future, we see numbers that are larger, because we might have caught that. We can see them.
This is, I can't read it. I was gonna mention that after the fact. We should talk about that a little.
What is the size of the old garage and what's the size of the new garage?
So just give me 1 second. I'm sorry. So the new garage will be 20 by 24. So 480 square feet. The existing is definitely smaller. I don't have it exactly in front of me.
Well, if it's 1 car to 2 car, it's probably half that size, or is it?
No,
even smaller than
it's a 2 car right now. Like there's not a big difference in it. It's slightly bigger. I don't know.
I can read, I have a larger set of plans here, so I can read it.
That's what I'm missing. I'm sorry.
The existing square footage for everything right now is 3,277 square feet. And the proposed with the garage is 3,713 square feet, according to the bulk table.
Yeah, so most of that is the kitchen, right? How big is the kitchen?
The kitchen is
Roughly 18 by 18.
18 by 18, roughly, yeah.
And this should have been an undersized lot. He doesn't have the lot width that he needs.
Oh, geez, Louise.
So it should have been qualified as an undersized lot.
I kind of thought so.
So we can add that when you make your decision.
All right, you got that, Tommy?
I'm sorry?
Did you get that, the undersized lot?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I thought it was.
Okay, cool.
On a bulk table, though, it's weird. It says, it probably, I can't see it properly, but it looks like the existing is a little more than required. Is that kind of
Mike,
strange? Or-
Yeah, Mike, can you speak up a little bit?
Sorry, on the bulk table, it shows the existing on the lot is a little bigger than the required. I don't know if it's just something I can't read properly. It's just there's a couple extra numbers on there.
It looks like
15,000.
15,032 or something versus.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15,032 is existing and required was 15,000.
So it's not undersized.
It's not undersized. That's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
It's undersized because it doesn't meet lot width.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh.
All they have to have is not meeting one of the three requirements, and they would qualify
Oh.
for undersized.
We
Right.
got 87 instead of 100. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Debbie.
The total addition, when you do the subtraction, is 436 square feet.
Okay, which 325 or so is for the kitchen, right?
Garage is 436 and the kitchen is 324, something
No,
like that.
Right, well, the increase for the kitchen is 324, but out
Right.
of that number that Debbie gave, the increase for the garage is only about 100.
Right.
Okay. All right, any further questions from the board? Should I take it to public? Okay, does anybody from the public wish to be heard on this? If you do, please unmute your phone and or chat that you're not able to if you're unable to. From the public, please unmute your phone, state your name. Last call, chat if you can't. Okay, not seeing or hearing anything. There's no further questions from the board. I'll make a motion to close.
I'll second that.
Second by Rob. All in favor, Dan, aye. Rob,
Aye.
Tricia,
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
great, thank you. Denise Secra.
Okay, with regard to application 20-51 Robinson, based upon the testimony heard by this board and the facts as presented in the application submission and in the record, this application is exempt from the environmental review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to Secret Regulation 617.5 C 1112 16 or 17. If you have no question or comment, a board member can adopt my legal opinion as a motion.
I'm from the public and you can't hear me for some reason. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I'm from the public and I was not being heard. I was trying to ask questions about that application for Darren and Fiona Robinson for the variance.
Okay. Well, the meeting has closed at this point.
Well, I tried to be heard. No one was hearing me. I was speaking very loudly. Nobody heard me. So I had to, I hung up and called back in. And I've been on the phone. I was on the phone the whole call from the very beginning, from 7 o'clock. I was very patient. This is ridiculous if I can't at least be heard. I am a neighbor to that property.
Okay, would you like to say something? At this point, it's the meeting's closed, but I mean, we can take it in. I don't even know if we can take it into consideration. Denise, how do you want to handle this?
Well, I was on the
I would
call
say-
and nobody heard me.
I would say temporarily.
Well, something's wrong with this
Reopen the meeting, then
technology.
swear her in. And then close it again after she's done speaking.
Dan?
Okay, great. So make a motion to reopen the meeting.
Second.
Second by Tricia, all in favor?
Aye.
And Tricia, Mike,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Rob.
Aye.
Great. Okay, state your name, please. Caller number 9, whoever you are.
Stella Gilsonan.
And what's your address?
What's the last name?
It's Gilsonan, Gilsenan. My address is 24 Meadows Street.
Thank you.
All right, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Great, go ahead.
Okay. I would object to any expansion that would narrow the distance between our property lines. Now, if they go into their backyard with this expanded kitchen, then I don't have an objection. But if they're going to go increase the width of their house, then I would have an objection.
The kitchen's going to be off the
Because
back
the
of
lot-
the house.
It's going to be off the back of the house.
Correct.
Correct.
So it would not narrow the distance between our houses as they currently stand.
There is no expansion on the front, the left side or right side of the house. It's only on the back of the house.
Okay.
But if you're on Meadows, aren't you in the back?
No,
Well,
sure.
my house,
The street.
when I'm looking in my backyard, that's where their house is. Their house is in my backyard.
No,
Like the view of my.
no, our house
No,
is
it's
not.
not.
Hold on.
No.
Across the street.
Hold on.
We're on the other side of the road.
Oh, really? You're across the street,
Correct.
on the other side of Pierce? Oh.
Yes.
Well, oh well. Then, I guess anyone in the surrounding area gets these letters?
Yes, they got one all around and anywhere within 200 feet, I believe, with letters of any part of the property.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry,
Well,
what was
then
your
obviously-
house address?
My house address,
Yeah.
is 24 Meadows Street.
That's why I knew the area. I know it doesn't, it doesn't, it's not there.
Right, so your house is here, their house is here.
It's on the corner of Meadows and Pierce.
Do you have your computer on, or are you just on the phone?
I'm on the phone. I didn't know how to do the go-to-meeting thing.
All right, they're basically across Pierce Parkway from you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any
And
further
one house
questions?
down from Meadows.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. Okay, so you're like diagonally across or whatever. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
we're
fine. then.
Their
diagonally.
home address is 149 Pierce Parkway.
We're closer to Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any further
right.
questions?
No.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anybody else from the public wish to be heard? Great. I'll make a motion to reclose the meeting.
Second?
Second by Rob. All in favor, Dan, aye. Rob,
Aye.
Tricia,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Great. All right, Tom, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance being sought.
Actually, Tom, hold on a second. Did we finish the vote on secret? Denise or Debbie?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
All right, so I'll move on the secret motion presented by Denise. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Great. All right, sorry, Tom, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance being sought. There's obviously no undesirable effect. We have letters from the neighbors stating so. It's a reasonable variance at the new level that we have. So I don't see any other way these people can possibly attain what they're trying to do in any other. We also have to understand it's only an 87-foot wide, 88-foot wide piece of property. So I can make a motion we approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, great. Second by Rob, and so that's on, so Tom, that's on the 0.247, right, in the undersized lot?
247.
Cool. All right. All right, all in favor, Tom?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Dan, aye. Tricia?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Great. All right, Robinsons, have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good
All
night.
right, cheers. You too. All right, make a motion to open Stamponi.
Second?
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Okay, Debbie? Debbie?
I'm sorry, I have a notarized affidavit of posting and a disclosure certificate.
Great. So we have Nicola Stamponi. Are you available? Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm Nicola Stamponi.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, Rob, you want to go ahead?
Okay, application of Nicola Stamponi for variances from zoning code, chapter 43 of the town of Orangetown code, chapter 43, R15 district, group M, column 4. Floor area ratio 20% permitted, 22% existing. And from section 5.153, accessory structure distance from primary structure 15 feet required, 7 feet existing, for an existing pergola at an existing single-family residence. The premises are located at 54 Schreiber Street, Tappan, New York, and is identified on the Orangetown tax map as section 77.06, block 3, lot 36 in the R15 zoning district. Okay, Mr. Stamponi, you mind just telling us a little why you're here tonight?
Yes. Yes, this was built from my wife's cousin. Is a carpenter about over 10 years ago, and I don't know, we need a permit to get from the town at that time. It's over 10 years. And now when I went to get the pool permit, they told me I need permit for the pergola. So I don't know nothing about this. Otherwise, I would have got a permit in a long time ago when I got it. So,
Okay.
So nobody advised me I need a permit over 10 years ago, and that's the reason.
So then you're going for another permit for now for something different, or is that?
No, I already got it. I already got everything. I got the permit for this and the permit for the pool, so I got everything.
Mr. Stamponi found out about this when he applied for the permit for an in-ground pool.
Okay.
And they went out and
Yes.
did an inspection and they saw the pavilion.
So they figured out he broke the law. I'm just kidding.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
It looks nice. It's actually a nice shade area. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions if anyone on the board might, or.
Yeah.
I just
Anybody else have
asked,
a question?
I don't know if anybody heard me, how high is that pergola?
It's 8 feet.
And how close is the pool going? I mean, is not the property, I don't see a lot of the property, I was just wondering.
The
The pool
pergola
is
is on
probably
one
going
side.
on the other side of the garage, I would say.
One is on one side of the garage and the pool is on the other side of the garage.
Wait. The pool is going on which side of the garage? The side of the garage?
On the right side of the garage. And the pergola is in the back of the house on the left side of the garage.
Left side, okay.
About 20 feet from the garage, I think, exactly. Don't recall exactly, but
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, any further questions?
I have no question.
Does anybody from the audience wish to be heard? Anybody from the audience wish to be heard?
Yes, my name is Joseph Hickey. I reside at 32 Shriver Street,
Push the red
Tappan,
button.
New York. And I would just like to say that the pergola is a beautiful
Hold on.
structure.
Hold on, sir. I just had to swear you in.
Okay.
Debbie, you got that address right?
Yes, I have it.
Great. Sorry, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Great, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm a neighbor of the family in question, and the structure is beautiful, and it definitely adds character not only to their property, but to the street as well.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody else wish to be heard? Anybody else? If you wish to be heard, we can't hear you, please use your chat. Going once, going twice. Not seeing anything. All right. Any further questions from the board? You're going to make a motion to close.
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Okay, great. Denise?
Okay, with regard to ZBA 20-52 applicant Stamponi, based upon the testimony heard by this board and the facts that are presented in the aforementioned application submission and in the record, the application is exempt from environmental review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to SEQRA Regulation 617.5C 11, 12, 16, and or 17. If you have no questions or comments, a board member can adopt my legal opinion as a motion.
I so move. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Great. Mike, Rob, you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we grant the variances for the pergola. Has no adverse physical or environmental effects in the neighborhood. By the pictures, it's all nicely fenced in and very well done. So I move we give them the variance.
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Dan, aye. Tom?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you, Mr. Stamponi. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Good night.
I make a motion to open Henry Kaufman Campgrounds.
Second.
Second by Mike. Oh, Rob? I'm sorry,
Aye.
all in favor? All in favor, Dan, aye. Mike?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Great. All right, Debbie.
I have a notarized affidavit of posting and a disclosure certificate and several letters of correspondence. The first dated July 28th, 2020 from the Rockland County Department of Planning. They recommend the following modifications. A review must be completed by the County of Rockland Drainage Agency and any required permits obtained. A review must be completed by the County of Rockland Department of Highways. Any comments or concerns addressed and all required permits obtained. A review must be completed by the County of Rockland Department of Health. Any comments or concerns addressed and any required permits obtained. The bulk table indicates a rear yard variance is required for a structure that is 186 feet from the lot line. However, no building on the provided use table indicates a setback of this distance. It must be clarified if a building requires a variance for the setback. If there is an error on the bulk table, or if this building is located in a different section of the camp and the variance will be applied for during that phase. If the variance will be required during a different phase, we request the opportunity to review it, as well as any other variances that may be necessary as per New York State General Municipal Law. The application form indicates the property receives water services from United Water. The form must be corrected to SUAS. Signed, Douglas J. Schutz, Acting Commissioner of Planning. A letter dated August 28th, 2020 from the Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, and they do not object to the plan as shown. This is signed by Joseph LaFiandra, Engineer 2. A letter dated August 4th, 2020 from the Rockland County Highway Department. The Rockland County Highway Department was in receipt of the reference site plan prepared by Divney Tung Schwabel Planners, last updated on 7/29/20, together with other information as part of the GML review process. The review has been complete now, and our comments are as follows. Proper stormwater management system must be implemented and maintained in the site during and post constructions. A right-of-way permit shall be obtained from RCHD prior to starting any construction activities in the site, if the proposed site plan is approved by the town. Thank you. Signed, Dion Resigham, Engineer 3. A letter dated August 19th, 2020 from the Rockland County Department of Health. Any septic system and stormwater management improvements will need Rockland County Health Department approval. Applicant's engineer should contact the undersigned to coordinate. Pursuant to 10 New York CRR 97.14, public swimming pools are a type 1 action. Engineering plans for any proposed pool or modifications to existing pools must be submitted to and approved by the Rockland County Health Department prior to construction. Application is to be made to RCDOH for review of the stormwater systems for compliance with the county mosquito code. Signed, Elizabeth Mello, PE, Senior Public Health Engineer. And then I have a no comments attached from Elizabeth and a no comments attached from Rockland County Highway Department. And that is it for correspondence.
Sorry, I was on mute. Don, Jerry, and Donna, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. This is ZBA number 20-53, application of Henry Kaufman Campgrounds for variances from zoning code chapter 43 of the town of Orangetown code R80 district, section 4.32 BI, yards, spacing of buildings and screenings. No buildings, tent, activity area, or recreation facility shall be less than 300 feet from any lot line. The following proposed structures require variances as follows. A, amphitheater 92Y-2, proposed setback 161.8 feet. B, home base, HB 92Y-7, proposed setback 15.4 feet. C, home base, HB 92Y-8, proposed setback 283.4 feet. D, home base, HB 92Y-9, proposed setback 104.7 feet. Home base, HB 92Y-10, proposed setback 214 feet. F, home base, HB 92Y-11, proposed setback 42.9 feet for the proposed 92nd Street Y campus. Presently located at 667 Blauvelt Road, Pearl River, New York. It is identified in the Orangetown tax map as section 69.10, block 2, lot 21, and section 69.14, block 1, lot 28 in the R80 zoning district. All right, Don.
Okay, thank you. The Henry Kaufman Camp has been in the town of Orangetown since the late 50s. The facility provides day camp services to children in the metropolitan area. The camp is divided into 4 sections. Due to the age of the facility, the camp is now being upgraded to meet the new requirements and the present standards. The town has approved the master plan for the upgrade. The town has approved the first phase of the project, which was the Bronx House, and which we hope to start construction this month. This is the second phase, which includes the 92Y, which has received preliminary approval and environmental approval from the planning board. The applicant is here to obtain certain variances so that the camp can proceed with the improvement program. I would allow now to introduce Jerry and Donna to describe the details of the project.
Thank you, Don. This is Jerry Schwalbe from Divney-Tongue Schwalbe. And as Don mentioned, these are improvements in the Henry Kaufman campground consists of approximately 105.9 acres. And what we're talking about is the 92Y campsite, which is on the northeast corner of the site. So the proposed project is a phase of and consistent with the Henry Kaufman campground master plan. These improvements are being done to enhance the experience of the current staff and campers and not to increase the population of the camps. This application before this board is as I mentioned, is for the 92 Street wide campground. And these improvements include the removal and replacement of 5 home bases, generally located in the same development areas. Improvements of primarily replacement of existing buildings, as Don mentioned, they're pretty old, and close to the existing locations where feasible, while minimizing impacts to existing trees, views, slopes, and play areas that currently exist on the property. The structures have been architecturally improved with rear walls. In other words, the solid wall in the back of those buildings, which will help to baffle noise inward to the site towards the campgrounds themselves. The existing amphitheater is proposed to be located north and further away from the adjacent residential neighbors, which it currently is much closer at this point. And the existing amphitheater is really not, in a sense, a major facility. It only consists of some benches and a wooden stage, so it's more of an outdoor, informal kind of thing for the campers. The plan also addresses the stormwater requirements by providing management facilities in accordance with the current movement requirements, which will be an improvement to the existing conditions. And I see the drawing that you have up in the screen is generally the area in which these variances are being sought for. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't have, it shows where you see drawing A such and such for the, what it's going to look like. And that's going to go back. We don't have that.
I'm sorry, I can't hear that.
So as an example,
You're breaking up a little bit.
I don't know. Okay. So I don't see what the proposed is going to be, right? Because it says see drawing A1 as an example, and we don't have drawings A1. We have them electronically.
Yes, actually, we have it there. If the drawing you're looking at right now, I guess you can see that. So there's a crosshatched in that shaded area. That's the existing home base, and the darker gray area is the proposed home base. Yeah, those are the 2 areas. That's one of the buildings. That's shelter number 9. I'm sorry, shelter number 11 on that list that you have. And then if you scroll over to,
Oh, hold on. I want to know what height there is today, when what height's gonna be there tomorrow. Right, so I don't know what that looks like.
The height's around 20 feet high approximately, similar to the existing height that's there.
Well, that's the point, you're saying similar, I don't know, I don't see either or.
Architecturally.
Yeah.
The plan.
Because there could be something that's 10 foot and you're putting up something that's 20 foot. I don't know that.
Right. Don, do you
I couldn't
recall?
get in there. I couldn't get in there the other day either, so I wanted to get in there.
Right. Yeah. You have to call to get in, obviously, to get in there. So that could be arranged. But Don, do you know the height of the existing structures precisely, though? You recall that?
And not only that, you're increasing the sizes of all the structures, right? I mean, because you're showing me the hatched area is existing and you're drawing out with all the gray area, dark gray areas are new.
Don, can I get in on this?
So there's some other, I mean, obviously the home bases are there for a reason, because there's 5 different buildings there that also allow the campers then to use the center of the camp as their play areas. And you can see other things in there. There's courts and things like that facilitate their camp experience. There's also if you scroll down a little bit more, there's a restroom that's there now that's going away. So that restroom is the only restroom for those facilities there, where the new home bases will also have restrooms inside the building. They don't
But I
have to
guess
keep
the question is, why don't we have the measurements for any of these things?
Okay, Dave, are you around, Dave?
Well, Jason's on. Jason is the architect.
Oh, Jason, can you get on and answer these things?
Sure. Hi, my name is Jason Popkin from Sisforski Associates. I'm working with Henry Kaufman.
Jason, sorry, I have to
Yeah.
swear. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sure. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead.
In the first question was height. I mean, the set that you have is 16 sheets long, so I would say it's somewhere around sheet 12, maybe. Maybe Donna would know that. So the existing buildings are sheds shaped, lean-tos, so to speak. The roof slope is very shallow, so the height is 12 to 13 feet. We're proposing a little bit more of a residential look of a building in the future. So it has a pitched roof, and the height of the new buildings would be 20 feet.
So hold on. For my question, you can't answer it, right? Because I can't see what any kind of structure today, what it's going to look like tomorrow. And I have an issue with that personally as one member of the board. For all of these units that you're showing me, and all of these new buildings or replacements or amphitheater and go in place, which is much larger than what's there today, I don't know any of the measurements or anything of that nature. So you don't need to keep going because you've answered my question.
May I ask a question, please? This is Michael Nicodema, 1 Briarwood Lane.
Wait, that's public. I'm sorry. Are you an applicant?
No, I'm a resident. I'm a
Okay,
member
no,
of the public.
Okay. No, please wait until we open up to the public.
Oh, it's not open yet?
Yeah. So Jason, do you have those measurements that Mike's looking for, Mike Bosco?
I have the square footages of the buildings. I can get those in a couple of minutes.
In terms of the height?
The height, I've already said, the height was 12 feet high.
No, but can you, my question is, can you share those with us? Are they readily available? If I step away from this meeting and go listen to another one, are you able to email it to, say, Debbie and get it over to us?
Yes. I could email a document that shows those heights in just a few minutes. Yeah. That's like that.
Okay, if it's all right with the rest of the board, do you want to,
If I'm sorry, if I could share my screen, I could show what the proposed building looks like.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Is this Donna?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Donna, you should now be able to share your screen.
Okay, I think all right, I've got it. Hold on 1 minute, please. Does everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay. Jason, do you want to describe it?
Sure. So this is the proposed home base. It is an open air structure made mostly out of wood, with bathrooms on the right-hand side and a utility room, and on the left-hand side storage. And in the top of the plan is some changing areas. So it's a gable end house building, open air. There it is.
Which one is that? 92 what?
This is the 92Y home base and the 12 Trails home base. They're all pretty similar. The same design.
Okay, so what is the HB 92Y? It's a pavilion, right? So that's going from a shelter to a pavilion. And which way
They're both open air pavilions.
and which way do they face?
The face inward into the site typically, which is what we're
You have a
doing now.
drawing of that?
Of the original building.
No, the open air.
This is open air.
No, it's
Mm-hmm.
HP 92Y.
Mm-hmm.
There's 9.
The amphitheater, Mike?
Oh, that's coming out and that's going in this place, is what you're saying.
Yeah. They're all the same structures in the sense of their design. And this is a camp for kids, so it's pretty simple.
What is a relocated amphitheater then?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Relocated amphitheater, it shows.
Yes, so we're moving the amphitheater kind of further into the site and putting a home base where the outdoor amphitheater was.
Okay, so you're moving that amphitheater further away from the homes.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And these buildings have like a hardened back, so to speak. I mean,
got it. So you don't, so everything projects into the camp.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That answered my question.
Okay, so you have all those heights, Mike? You good?
Yeah, I see you I see it now, and that shows exactly what all of them pretty much look like.
All right, I'm having trouble seeing the screen, so I'll go with what you're saying. All right. Any further questions or anything else you need from Donna?
I don't know, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm unmuted. Do you want me to close this now?
You can. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, are there any further questions from the board? Anything else to present, Don, from your side?
I think we're showing these 5 variances that we're looking for. As you can see, these are modern structures. We do have to go to the Architecture Review Board and get final approval from them for them. And they are really much more attractive than the ones that are there right now.
Great.
Actually, I just have a question. On the line by Briarwood Lane, down, it's right there in that corner there, Dan. If you go down a little bit, what's the vegetation like in between that area there, and the new building as an example? The plantings or trees, or I don't see that.
I mean, I can answer some of it. I mean, there's some buffering there. There are mature trees in there. Sort of an open understory. in that location. I think the, one of the main reasons for moving the amphitheater, because that's more open and no shielding of children playing. So that was being moved to the more to the interior of the site. And, you know, it's kind of switching it with the home base. As Jason mentioned, the back wall is solid. So the solid faces the homeowners or the neighbors in the back.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, if there's no further questions from the board, I'll open it up to the public. So I'll ask that you speak one at a time. So the first person who would like to speak, please give me your name and address.
Yes, Michael Nicodema, 1 Briarwood Lane. Now, I thought,
Mike, hold on. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes,
Thank you. Go ahead.
I thought one of the engineers said that these enhancements were not going to increase the camp population. Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct.
That is correct.
Okay. And I also understand that you're looking for 6 separate zoning variances. I wrote them down. Which ones will affect the buffer between the camp and Briarwood Lane?
All right, so sir, it's actually, we try not to have a dialogue here because it'll just extend the meeting. If you'd like to ask your questions, we'll get a response from the applicants
Sure.
at the end of it. And I'll answer your question. We just try to prevent dialogue between the applicant and the public. But the 6 ones that the 6 that I mentioned are all within the buffer.
Okay. Which ones affect Briarwood Lane? All of them?
The 6 that I mentioned, yeah.
Okay. And for any of those buffers, for any of those zoning variances, how much of the existing tree lines are going to be removed?
Okay, next question. They'll respond at the end of this.
Okay.
You have any further questions?
No.
Okay. Great. Next person from the audience who wishes to speak. Can you state your name? Address? Thought I heard a second person.
Kevin McCormack,
Okay, Kevin McCormack, what's your address?
83 Sickletown Road.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Great, thank you.
Just first, thanks to the zoning board for all that you do. I know you have thankless jobs and you work very, very hard, and we appreciate all that you do.
Great, thank you.
We do want to thank the folks at the campground. We've been to the zoning board and the planning board many times to talk about drainage. And while the new plan is not perfect, it is improved from what it was. So we do appreciate what the campground has done about drainage and some other issues we've had. We do also just have a couple of questions, so I'll say what they are and you can, hopefully they can answer them. So first question is, what is the increase in size of the new home bases as a percentage to what is there now? I can see the change in it on the plan, but what's the percentage? Is it 50% bigger? Is it 25% bigger? What sound mitigation measures are going to be done other than putting the wall into the home bases? What landscaping measures will be required after they're done? I don't feel that the question about the height difference was answered. I couldn't see it on the plan, so I would like to know what's the difference in height between the existing structures now and what they're going to be when they're complete. And I also want to know what tree removal will be done around the home bases and in the buffer area, and what will be done to do replantings of trees. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Anybody else? Thought I heard a woman before. Okay.
There is a chat message, Dan.
Okay, so reading a chat message from Kathy Vanderlind, says, I am from Pearl River and any improvement of these campgrounds is needed and a bonus for all. We need to keep this a camp ground and help it thrive. Let them improve. We've got that right into the record. Does anybody else from the public wish to be heard on this? Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Okay, I'm gonna close the public portion. Don, do you want to,
Well, I would like the engineer and the architect to answer the questions which were proposed in reference to,
actually, so Don, does this have to go to Akabor?
yes, this must go, after we finish this, we will prepare the drawings for Akabor, which will then require another public hearing. And then after that's done, we have to go back to the planning board. So there
Okay,
is.
so I just want to let the public know that when this goes to Akabor, they do talk about things like landscaping, buffers and things of that nature. So it's a meeting that, you know, if that type of stuff does interest you, you should definitely attend that. So you'll get notified the same way you got notified for this meeting. But Donnie, with that, I mean, that was really, I was just addressing that for the landscaping, the general landscaping comment that Kevin had made. So if you could just touch on the tree line, or trees getting cut down, and if so, how many are they being replaced?
Jerry, can you? Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Jerry.
Don, I can try to answer that if you may. I think I indicated early on the basis of putting these bases in the same location that they are today is to minimize tree disturbance. Obviously, there will be some trees in the immediate area around those units, those buildings, but there's no clear cutting of forest or buffers and things like that to put those in. It's only really actually also for safety, if there's any trees that obviously are diseased or not safe, obviously those would have to come out as a normal part of the maintenance on the camp. And then obviously, we are, as you mentioned, going to the back to the planning board, and if they feel they need more, or the architectural folks need more landscaping, they will opine on that. But the intent is really not to clear cut things and only do whatever we have to do to get the new home bases into those areas. And so I don't have an exact number to tell you, but obviously we're minimizing what we have to maintain those buffers as much as possible.
Okay, great.
And I think also as to the sound mitigation we was brought, everything now is being built so that all the sound will be sent into the campgrounds and not the other way. So those improvements were made for that reason. The amphitheater was moved again also for that reason, to get any kind of sound which would have occurred from that area, again, away from where the homes are.
Yeah, do you want to touch on the increase of size of the home bases? What kind of percentage are you looking at there? That 50% increase?
It's this is Jason talking from Skorsky. The buildings, the old buildings were really small, so they're around 1,600 square feet. They're little sheds, is what they are. You can see, if you ever went there with the kids, you realize that they're just not the right size. The new buildings are over 3,000 square feet. So, but the new buildings have bathrooms. The old buildings do not. They had these outhouses, so to speak. Their own separate buildings are now being incorporated into these buildings, and some extra storage is being incorporated for arts and crafts and stuff like that. So the buildings are larger, but it's a modernization for the kids.
You say 2,000 square feet, excuse me?
No, over 3,000 square feet.
So it's almost double in size.
Yeah, what was there was never really pretty modest. And then again, the clarity was the existing sheds of these houses, these buildings were 12 feet high, and the new ones will be 20 at its peak.
quick question though. The existing pavilions today are open all around. Are there backs to them today?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Are
So
the buildings,
the existing buildings that are there today, do they have backs to them, or are they just open air all around?
they do have some have a little low wall of about 20, 30 inches, some don't. They've all been worked on a little bit. They are oriented, and the way we are approaching it now, they're oriented similarly with the backs to the neighbors.
Okay, but the new ones have full backs, correct?
They have pretty much a full back. It's within, it's like a foot or two of air at the top of the wall just to get a little air in there.
Gotcha.
But yes, they're closed off, and we didn't want to totally, we want these kids to be comfortable. And the bathrooms are a good significant, they're over 1,000 square feet. These have to be ADA compliant bathrooms for two sexes with, so the bathrooms are like 1,100 square feet of this new building. It's just the bathrooms.
Of the 3,000, basically?
It's a third of the 3,000, a little bit less than a third of 3,000 is just bathrooms alone. Yeah.
So comparing, if you took the bathrooms out, comparing to the space that was there before, is it similar, or how far?
It's about maybe 600 square foot bigger than what it was.
Okay.
Because they were tight.
So I just want to ask, if you're almost doubling the size of the building, you must be removing quite a few trees. Are you going to be adding any trees?
We haven't totally looked at that. A lot of the trees that are being removed have, because they were right up against, if you come to the property, you'll see that a lot of the trees are literally up against the buildings. So a significant number of these trees are just being removed just because they just can't grow anymore the way they are.
When we go to Akabor, there will be a detailed description as to any kind of a buffer that will be put in that area if required. But that we will do for the hearing. If the Akabor group wants it, or if the designers wanted, we will put screening in that area. We've always been cooperative. We've worked very well with the neighbors, as they well know. When we're building the big, large detention basin, we've always put in some kind of screening so that the neighbors would be assured that the sound would not travel towards their direction.
Thank you. Dan, did you get those measurements? Did we get those measurements for the height, the difference?
Yes. I think he just explained those to us.
About 7 foot,
No, I heard the size. I didn't hear. I'm sorry. What was it?
about 7 foot higher.
7 foot higher. Okay, thanks. I couldn't see that.
This section, is this just a neighbor encroaching on that property? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's nice to have a horseshoe pit.
That guy's not complaining.
I
Not here.
No comment on that one.
I think it's a gazebo.
It looks like a gazebo and a nice little extension.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any further questions from the board?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that any issue with the trees sounds like they're going to cut down just so they can build what they need to build. But any additional buffer, I think that that should be addressed at Akabor when that time comes. These are well off the neighbor's property, so I don't know. But certainly, to the public, voice your concerns with Akabor, and they can handle it. All right, if there's no further questions, I'll make a motion to close.
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor, Dan? Aye. Mike?
Aye.
Rob? Rob?
Aye. Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Denise Secret.
Okay, with regard to applicant 20-53, Henry Kaufman Campground, Inc., Phase 2 Master Plan Development, UJA Federation, New York, 92nd Street Y and 12 Trails. Since the planning board noticed its intent to declare itself lead agency and distributed that notice of intention to all involved agencies, including the ZBA, who consented or did not object to the planning board acting as a lead agency pursuant to coordinated review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act 617.6B3. And the planning board conducted secret review on July 8th, 2020, as set forth in PB 20-31, rendered an environmental determination that no significant adverse environmental impact would result from the proposed land use action. The ZBA is bound by the planning board's negative declaration and cannot require further secret review. If you have no questions or comments, a board member can adopt my legal opinion as a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Rob?
Yes.
All right, all in favor, Dan, aye. Rob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the applications for Kaufman Campgrounds for the setbacks proposed. And do we need any overrides on this, Debbie? No, they're just recommendations, right?
Just recommendations.
Okay, great. So I make a motion that we approve as it's been posted. They're putting the restrooms inside of these home bases. They're moving the amphitheater further away from the homes. I think it's a good plan for the use of the property.
Tom, second.
Tom?
Tom, yep. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tom?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Make a motion to open Hewitt.
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
And Mike?
Aye.
Great. Debbie?
I have a notarized affidavit of posting and a disclosure certificate and several letters of correspondence. The first is dated July 15th, 2020 from the Rockland County Department of Planning. And they disapprove. The subject site is only 14% of the minimum lot area standard of 22,500 square feet required for a single family residence. The proposed addition requires substantial variances to accommodate an oversized residential building on an undersized environmentally sensitive parcel. The front yard is 96% deficient in meeting the bulk requirement. No rear yard is provided to the addition. 45 feet is required. The building height is 2,311% greater than what is permitted per foot from the lot line. The floor area ratio exceeds the permitted standard by 495%. The surrounding neighborhood is characterized by similarly sized parcels. Granting these bulk variances will set a precedent that may result in nearby property owners seeking the same relief. The town must consider the cumulative and regional impacts of permitting such development. An increase in the residential density in this neighborhood of non-conforming parcels will negatively impact the stability of the slope, undermine the intent of its critical environmental area designation, negatively affect community character, and put more stress on infrastructure capacity. Additional residents will generate more traffic on the local streets, leading to congestion and traffic controls. We recommend that the required variances be denied and that the addition not be permitted as proposed. The applicant must comply with the comments made by the Rockland County Highway Department in their letter of July 15th, 2020. An updated review must be completed by the Rockland County Department of Health. In addition, the applicant must comply with the comments made in their letter of January 28th, 2019. The Village of Piermont is one of the reasons this proposal was referred to this department for review. The municipal boundary by such site, New York State General Municipal Laws states that the purposes of sections 239-1 and 239I and 239M and 239N shall be to bring pertinent intercommunity and countywide planning, zoning, site plan, and subdivision considerations to the attention of neighboring municipalities and agencies having jurisdiction. Such review may include intercommunity and countywide considerations in respect to the compatibility of various land uses with one another, traffic generating characteristics of various land uses in relation to the effect of such traffic on other land uses, and to the adequacy of existing and proposed thoroughfare facilities and the protection of community character as regards predominant land uses, population density, and the relation between residential and non-residential areas. In addition, Section 239NN was enacted to encourage the coordination of land use development and regulation among adjacent municipalities, and as a result, development occurs in a manner which is supportive of the goals and objectives of the general area. The Village of Piermont must be given the opportunity to review the proposal and its impact on community character, traffic, water quantity and quality, drainage, stormwater runoff, and sanitary sewer service. The areas of countywide concern noted above that directly impact the Village of Piermont must be considered and satisfactorily addressed, as well as any additional concerns about the proposal. A review must be completed by the New York-New Jersey Trail Conference and any concerns addressed. The bulk table provided on the site plan must be updated to indicate a variance is required for the rear yard. Signed, Douglas J. Schutz, Acting Commissioner of Planning. Second letter is dated July 15th, 2020, from the Rockland County Highway Department. The RCHD believes the proposed action would have no significant effects on the county road and has no objection to the town's determination in this matter. A road work permit shall be obtained from the Rockland County Highway Department prior to starting any construction activities on the site if the site plan is approved by the town. Signed, Dion Residuham, Engineer 3. A letter dated August 28th, 2020, from the Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, and they do not object to the plan as shown. Joseph LaFiandra, Engineer 2. A letter dated August 19th, 2020, from the Rockland County Health Department. Application is to be made to the RCDOH for review of the stormwater management system for compliance with the county mosquito code. Signed, Elizabeth Mello, PE, Senior Public Health Engineer. And then I have a letter from the Incorporated Village of Piermont. Please be advised that the Piermont Building Department has no objections to the Orangetown Building Department taking the lead on this project for the portion of the house that is located in Orange. But please obtain a Piermont permit application for the decks on this project, which are located on the tax map in Piermont. Signed, Charlie Schwab, Village of Piermont. I have a sign off from the Rockland County Health Department. And then I have a very long letter that I'm not going to read because the architect is probably going to go through. It's his letter. And it connected to this is the planning board decision PB number 2007, dated June 24th, 2020. That's it for correspondence.
Great. Thank you, Doug. I think it's Michael S. May.
Yes.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I will.
Great, thank you. Okay, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not Michael. Sorry, hold on one sec. Rhythm there.
I think
Patricia.
That's
Nikki,
me.
you may also be on. The
Yes.
owner.
Yes.
Oh, Dan?
Yeah, you want to swear Mickey into?
Wait, did I? Sorry, I don't know what I missed or.
Mickey Ewan is the owner of the property. She's also here.
Also here.
Okay, so Mickey Hugh, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as well?
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, Patricia.
Okay, ZBA 20-54, application of, can you tell me how I'm supposed to pronounce that, please? Mickey?
Yes. Nikki.
For variances from zoning code, chapter 43 of the Town of Orangetown Code, chapter 43, R22 District, group 1, section 3.12, columns 4, floor area ratio, 0.20 permitted, 0.52 existing, 1.19 proposed, column 8, front yard, 40 feet required, 15.9 feet existing, 1.7 feet proposed. Column 11, rear yard, 45 feet required, zero existing and proposed to the new addition. And 12, building height, 9 inches, 1 per 1 foot permitted, 19.5 inches per 1 foot existing, 208 inches per 1 foot proposed. For an addition to an existing single-family residence, premises are located at 161 Tweed Boulevard, Upper Grandview, New York, and identified on the Orangetown tax map as section 75.09, block 1, lot 3, in the R22 zoning district. So could you please explain your project, what it is you'd like to do and why?
May I start?
Yes.
This is Mike Esme, architect for the Hyans. The site consists of 2 tax lots, one located in the town of Orangetown and the other in the village of Piermont. The Orangetown tax lot is located in an R22 zone and is in a Orangetown critical environmental area. The total area of the lot is 22,501 square feet, but by applying slope requirements both in Orangetown and Piermont, the effective area of the site is 13,637 square feet for zoning purposes, 3,175 square feet in Orangetown, and 10,462 square feet in Piermont. And this is the important part of this, is that we're talking about a lot which consists of 2 municipal tax lots. But for all intents and purposes, it's a lot which is actually 13,637 square feet. On the site, there's an existing 2.5-story residence that was constructed in 1972. The residence sits mostly in Orangetown and is accessed by a bridge, and that bridge starts from the property line that is approximately the level of the adjacent roadway. The residence is in poor condition, having been poorly maintained, as well as having been struck by a tree, causing much damage. The property was recently acquired by Mikian and Chul Hyun, who live in Palisades. The Hyuns are proposing a 2-story addition and alteration that will double the size of the residence. The addition will include a new entry, 2-car garage, and master bedroom suite. The number of bedrooms will remain the same at 2. All existing decks will be removed and replaced. The new decks will, for the most part, be located in the village of Piermont. And then going back to the Piermont letter, a permit will be sought from the village of Piermont for those decks. But in point of fact, the replacement decks are virtually the same as the existing decks that were on the existing dwelling. The proposed addition and alteration has received a preliminary site plan approval from the planning board, subject to some conditions which include a referral to your board. The proposed addition, excluding decks, will be located in Orangetown and fill the space between the existing structure and the west property line. This will require the obtaining of variances, and those variances were previously listed. Okay, because of the uniqueness of many properties located along Tweed Boulevard, there have been many variances granted to those properties over the years. As a consequence, what has been proposed, or what the Hyuns are proposing, will not set an undesirable land use precedent, and the proposed project will not result in any overutilization of the site. Some conditions that affect the need for the variance include size of tax lot, 3,175 square feet, steepness of the site, cost and viability of possible alternate approaches, construction and configuration of the existing dwelling, and the minimizing of impervious surfaces that have an important impact in a critical environmental area. It is also important to note, and I really believe this is really important, that the width of Tweed Boulevard, the right-of-way at this location, is 80 feet, whereas over 96% of the length of Tweed Boulevard, there's a 60-foot right-of-way, and in some cases less than 60 feet. It has been stated that the variances requested should be considered substantial, but taken in context, they are not unique when compared to other properties located along Tweed Boulevard. The Orangetown tax lot at 3,175 square feet. But by adding the Piermont part of the property to the Orangetown part, and then taking into account reductions because of slope laws, the site at, as I've said, is 13,677 square feet in size for zoning purposes. The reduction of the actual lot size is an area from 22,501 square feet to 13,677 square feet is indicative of the property's steep slopes. Taken together, the area of the combined lots for zoning purposes is still non-conforming, but not as substantial a non-conformity when considering just the Orangetown tax lot. The floor area ratio requirement of 0.20, and it is 0.20, and 1.19 is proposed. When the two tax lots are taken together as a single lot, the FOR for the existing residents would then be 0.144, and for what is proposed, 0.276. By considering the two tax lots together, a floor area ratio of 0.276 is much, much less than 1.19, and as such would not be a substantial variance. The rear yard requirement is 45 feet. And I wanted to say that the existing size of the lot is an existing nonconformity, but it's being considered tonight as a need for a variance. Then the rear yard requirement is 45 feet and 0 feet is requested and proposed with this application. Again, by considering the two tax lots together, the proposed rear yard setback would then be 91.5 feet, more than conforming with the ordinance. A large percentage of the residences along Tweed Boulevard have asked for and received variances mostly for front yard setback and height. The front yard setback requirement is 40 feet, and the height requirement is 9 inches per 1 foot of distance from the property line. It should be noted that in the case of the Orangetown tax lot, a 40-foot front yard setback line would be located actually mostly in the village of Piermont. The following information, and this is on the narrative that's supplied, it was obtained from the Office of the Building, Zoning and Planning, shows, but it's not limited to, representative properties located on Tweed Boulevard as examples of properties that have, over the years, received similar variances to those sought by the Hyuns. 21 Tweed Boulevard, 0 front yard, 206 inches, 0 height. That 216 would be more if it was 1 foot from the property line. Property number 25, 2-foot front yard. Property 27, 2-foot front yard. Property 31, 15.4 front yard. 49, 5.51 front yard. 119, 2.2 front yard. Now, comparing that to the addition and alteration to the Hyun residence, you're asking for a 1.7 front yard, 208 inches per 1 foot height. Then when you consider the 80-foot, I'll go on. Of these examples, 3 have similar front yard setbacks to what the Hyuns are requesting, and 1 has no front yard at 0 feet. 6 of the examples are closer to the center line of the right-of-way and center of the road-of-way than what the Hyuns are requesting. Because the proposed addition is not parallel to the property line, the average proposed front yard setback is slightly more than 2 feet. In other words, on the north end of the addition, it's 1.7 feet from the property line, and on the south end, it's 2.4 feet from the property line. In considering these requirements, it is important to note that the county highway right-of-way at the location is 80 feet. And as previously stated, this 80-foot wide section of the Tweed Boulevard affects 4 properties in the town of Orangetown and represents approximately 4% of the length of Tweed Boulevard, for which almost its entire length is 60 feet wide. It is not clear why this short section of Tweed is 80 feet wide, but it is important to note that as a county road, the County Highway Department, in response to this application, quote, believes the proposed action would have no significant effects on the county road, and the department has no objection to the town's determination on the matter, unquote. And then if one were to apply a 60-foot wide right-of-way to this proposal, the variances sought for the front yard setback would then be 11.7 feet and the height 29 inches per foot, much less than many houses on Tweed with a 60-foot right-of-way. And then in addition, the proposed addition will be no higher in elevation than in the existing house. Factors to be taken into account in considering this application. Will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to the nearby properties? The proposed addition and alteration is consistent with and will not be a detriment to the surrounding properties and will be in character with the Tweed Boulevard neighborhood. The proposal will not increase density, and the traffic and its aesthetic impact does not set a negative precedent as it is consistent with other properties in the neighborhood. And then there are photographic examples of properties that have received similar variances and show the character of the Tweed Boulevard neighborhood as compared to 161 Tweed. The first picture is 21 Tweed Boulevard. That's 0 front yard setback. The next is 27 Tweed Boulevard, 2-foot front yard setback. 25 Tweed Boulevard, 2-foot yard setback. 31 Tweed Boulevard, 15.4 foot front yard setback. 119 Tweed Boulevard, 2.2 foot front yard setback. And the last 2 pictures are of 161 Tweed Boulevard. And in it you can see that the building, when you compare it to the other photographs, is actually set down from the road. And that when the addition would be added to the existing house, it would not have as much a presence as the pictures that you had previously seen. And then there's a picture from the south side which shows the house set into the hillside, and you can see that it is a very steep property. Okay, could the benefits sought by the Heons be achieved by some method feasible for them to pursue other than an area variance? Because of the size and configuration of the tax lot, that's the Orangetown tax lot, as well as the steepness of the site, it would be impossible in any way to make an addition to the existing residence without having to seek area variances from the town of Orangetown. In order to provide vehicular access to the proposed addition, a concrete retaining wall will be constructed to create a driveway from Tweed Boulevard to the new garage. As is typical, and that's true of the other houses you've seen, as is typical for the Tweed Boulevard, this wall will start within the county right-of-way. The design of the proposed addition minimizes the scope of the driveway and the retaining wall work. If the addition were constructed farther to the east and down the steep slope, the resultant retaining wall work necessary to accomplish the benefit that the Heons seek would expand exponentially, increasing the cost to the point where the project actually could be untenable. As the addition is drawn, and then the west side of the addition, the retaining wall required to do what is proposed would be 13 foot high above the existing grade. If you were to move the wall east, so that, for example, if it were to align with the existing residence, that same retaining wall, which would be on the west side of the addition, would be in excess of 21 foot high. The construction for a retaining wall there that would have to retain the earth for the proposed driveway would be a huge project and extremely costly. Is the requested variance substantial? The variances sought are based on a grossly undersized Orangetown tax lot and are, in that context, considered substantial. But taken in the context of both tax lots together forming the actual lot and compared to many other properties along Tweed Boulevard, the requested variances are not substantial. As proposed, the addition and alteration will not set an undesirable land use precedent and will not be an overutilization of the property. Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? The property is located in a critical environmental area, both in Orangetown and Piermont. In both municipalities, there is a great concern for protecting the environment, including site drainage, stormwater control, erosion, and protection of existing vegetation. The addition and alteration as designed minimizes site disturbance, and the amount of the additional impervious surface. This includes a significant reduction in the impervious surface in the county right-of-way, which helps to balance the additional impervious surface added due to the proposed addition. This proposal will result in an 11% increase of impervious surface about over what is shown in the existing addition. That is an additional 340 square feet of impervious surface, and I can say only one tree will be cut down to build this addition. Is the alleged difficulty self-created? The existing house, the small existing non-conforming Orangetown tax lot, the 80-foot Tweed Boulevard right-of-way, the steepness of the site, etc., creating a need for variances were not self-created. In response to the comments about this application made by Douglas Schutz, Commissioner of the Rockland County Department of Planning. Look, I could read through this, but each one of these comments basically is saying what I've already said, in regards to the property. Would you want me to read what I've said about
No, I think it's quite clear from his letter that he's not familiar with Tweed Boulevard and definitely did not visit the site. So I don't think there's much for.
Well, nothing he says applies to this house.
Right.
So, in conclusion, it has been shown that 161 Tweed Boulevard is a unique property in an area of many other unique properties. It's made up of 2 tax lots, each located in different municipalities, has steep slopes, and is located in the critical environmental area. It has been further shown that many properties located on Tweed Boulevard have been granted variances similar to those sought by the Heons. The Heons believe that the benefit they seek can be best realized by this proposal with the least disturbance to the property and in consistence with the character of the neighborhood and the surrounding properties. And they look forward to improving this property and bringing it back from disrepair and disuse to a finished occupied dwelling. That's it.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well put together.
Thank you.
What you got, Patricia?
So, question. Notwithstanding the fact of the 2 tax lots, you are doubling the size of the building that's there. What is the need for doubling the size?
It's a garage. The property doesn't have a garage. This is providing a garage off the property line, on the property. The present entry is minimal. You can see where the line is, how you enter the house. So it's providing a proper entry. And then the volume that's created underneath the garage then will become a master bedroom suite. There's an existing bedroom on a lower level that is now going to be used by Mickey's father. And there's a linking family room. And that's it. I mean, it's a house that's not different than most houses that you would see, certainly on Tweed Boulevard. And, you know, and it fulfills the needs of the Gions. Mickey, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I would like to say that the house is in a very bad shape, as you all know. We need to save it. My husband and I are so delighted and grateful that we found Mike, who is the original architect, and we are able to work with him, and we are just, we couldn't be happier. We need to save the existing structure, which we love. Has a very small footprint, and it was so well done in that very, very, very steep site. And in order for us to live there, we need to have a bigger room. Back in 1972, he created 2 bedrooms. There are size of somebody's walk-in closet. They're very small. So we want to make 2 bedroom into 1 to have my father live with us there. And then we want to create a bedroom for ourselves underneath the garage. So a garage is essential in this area with the snow and all, and stay away from the sun in the summer. And so basically we're just adding 2-car garage and then room right below. That's mainly, and the decks mostly stay the way it is. Of course, we will rebuild them because they are just ready to fall off in some of the areas. But given the existing site, there just is no way that we could grow except to where Mike has proposed. And we're just so delighted if we are able to do that. And we just can't wait to do that quickly because the house has been vacant for a very long time, I believe maybe more than 10 years. And we're just so anxious to get in and get the work done.
Thank you. So you mentioned there'll be only 2 bedrooms. So you're really taking 2 bedrooms and making it into a larger bedroom and then adding the master bedroom. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
So is there any
Sorry.
Go ahead. That's okay. Go ahead.
I just think the existing house, so it doesn't have a washroom on the top floor. Is that right? Currently? Or am I missing a drawing? Yeah.
There's a small powder room on the main level.
Currently.
And then when you go down to the lower level, there is 1 bathroom. So we are adding 1 other bathroom by the underneath the garage where the master bedroom will be. And then we're renovating the current 1 bedroom for my dad's use.
Okay.
I guess the only other question I have, is there any way to decrease any of those variances? There's quite a few here.
Actually, 2 of them are existing.
Yes, the rear yard.
The rear yard. And then if you look, if you think about it in terms of the whole lot, then the distance from the proposed decks to the rear yard line, which is in Piermont, is over 90 feet. That's the aberration. We're dealing with this little wedge, which is in Orangetown, but that's not the property. That wedge is only a small part of the whole property. So that rear yard is an existing nonconformity, and the size of the lot is an existing nonconformance. The 3 variances really are floor area ratio, front yard setback, and building height. And I think, this is not unusual for Tweed Boulevard to ask for variances like this. A I mean, I've shown many additional, other houses that have received variances like this. And then, I don't know, Debbie, maybe you can confirm the fact that there are many, many other variances that have been granted along Tweed Boulevard. And in most cases, they have to do with front yard. That's all because, that's because of the
I
steepness
can
of the
actually
site.
confirm that, because I know that I've been on several of those.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. And, so I don't see this as being really inconsistent with what already exists on this street.
I actually have no other questions there. I
Yeah,
agree.
good.
I have to agree, it does.
Yes, there's nothing else on the board. At this point,
I got a question. The primary ratio doesn't seem to be an issue because we have to consider what's in Orangetown and what's in Piermont.
Right.
Okay, so you're at 276? Is that what it was? I mean, just like everything up there, there's a 60-foot drop off on the property.
But we can't consider a drop off is not on our, and not in Orangetown, right?
I get that, but I'm just talking about reality.
No, I agree with you. I mean, the reality of it is, there's a precedent was set when half the part of the house was built in two towns, right? And I don't think we can't just, I don't know how we can even say we can just take the Orangetown into consideration. No, I don't know.
No, it just happens. The right of way out in front for some reason is wider than the rest of the road. This is not unusual out there.
Right.
Just wanted to make a statement.
This is probably one of the most unique properties in an area with a lot of unique properties.
I don't know, I've seen a lot up there. I've
seen quite a few.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen too many with Piermont and Orangetown.
Yeah.
The original certificate of occupancy for this house was issued by Piermont. I don't know how, but it was.
And they didn't want to discuss it this time, I guess.
No.
I got that.
Some hands
I'm
clean.
more than happy to let Orangetown take the lead on this.
Great.
Well, since they gotta have two building permits, right? They have to have two COs. I mean, how does that work?
They have to get a building permit in Piermont for the deck,
Yes.
Just for the decks.
just for the decks.
I mean, part of the deck they're replacing is in Orangetown.
That's right.
That's right.
Corner of it, yeah.
So you'd have to get a permit. You have to want to include that in your permit, I would say, just to cover yourself.
Sure.
I think the town of Orangetown should annex the Piermont part. I mean, it's really stupid because if you look at the location map, property 14, 15, 16, 17, plus this one and the property, I mean, two and this property and the one next to it are in some cases half in and half out.
Yeah. No, you're right.
The board had one other property beyond it years ago, that up on Tweed, that half the property's in Piermont and half's in Orangetown. Yeah.
Well, that's both Carp properties to the north.
Mm-hmm.
The Carp house is in both Orangetown and in Piermont. And it also had to get a variance for the front yard setback. The next Carp house, that's 17, had to get a variance. I mean, this is, this is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that steep slope, you're gonna have those strange variances, yeah. All right, any further questions from the board? Okay, I'll open up to the public. So if anybody from the public wishes to be heard on this, please unmute your phone. If you're unable to unmute, send a chat. And state your name. So does anybody wish to be heard on this? Does anybody wish to be heard on this? All right, final call. Okay, if there's no further questions from the board, make a motion to close.
Second.
Second.
Second by Tricia. All in favor, Dan? Aye. Tricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Denise?
Okay. With regard to ZBA 20-54 applicant Hyun, based upon the testimony heard by this board and the facts as presented in the aforementioned application and the submission and in the record, the application is exempt from environmental review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to Secret Regulation 617.5C 1112, 16 and or 17. If you have no questions or comments, a board member could adopt my legal opinion as a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Second by Rob. All in favor, Dan? Aye. Rob?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
All right, Patricia.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the variances requested by Mi-Kyung Hyun for the property located at 161 Boulevard. The construction will not bring, or the addition will not bring an undesirable change to the neighborhood. It's in character with what is there. It really, given the slope of the property and the fact that there's an 80-foot right-of-way there, there's really no other way of achieving the benefits that are sought by the applicant. And construction that will be there will not be any higher in elevation than what the new existing house, and very much in tune with the neighborhood.
You need to override.
Right, yes, we have, and like, I'm also going to override the disapproval by the county. I guess points 1, 2, 3. No, I'm sorry, 1. I guess that's.
Right.
Okay, that was my motion.
Second.
Okay, second by Tom. All in favor, Patricia?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Dan? Aye. Rob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice evening.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, make a motion to open Lane re-subdivision.
Second.
Second by Patricia. All in favor, Dan? Aye. Patricia?
Aye.
Mike? Mike? Rob?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Debbie?
I have a notarized affidavit of posting and a disclosure certificate and several letters of correspondence. Some of the letters I have from the planning board file because there was no sense in sending them back out again because they're going to get the same responses. First is dated June 3rd, 2020 from James Dean, Superintendent of Highways for the town of Orangetown. Please be advised that this department has no objections to the driveway as well as the small portion of the parking area on Park Avenue. Please note Park Avenue Palisades is a private road. And I have a letter dated March 31st, 2020 from Rockland County Sewer District Number 1. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1 does not object to the planning board serving as lead agency. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1 does not object to the plan as shown. This project does not affect any sanitary sewers within the district. Signed, Joseph LaFiandra, Engineer 2. A memorandum from the Rockland County Department of Planning stating that the application is not within their purview. A letter from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation dated March 12, 2020. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has reviewed the State Environmental Quality Review Notice of Intent to Serve as Lead Agency submitted to the Town of Orangetown Planning Board for the above referenced project. According to the submitted information, the applicant proposes to consolidate 3 lots identified as tax ID numbers 7020, 278, 276, and 277 into a single parcel. Additionally, the applicant proposes to construct a single-family dwelling on the consolidated lot. The DEC has no objections to the Town of Orangetown Planning Board serving as lead agency for this project. Based upon a review of your inquiry received by this office on March 2nd, 2020, the department offers the following comments. Protection of waters. There are no water bodies that appear on any regulatory maps at the project site you identified. Therefore, if there is a stream or pond outlet present at the site with year-round flow, it assumes the classification of watercourse into which it feeds, and a protection of waters permit may not be required. If there is a stream or pond outlet present at the site that runs intermittently, seasonally, it is not protected, and a protection of waters permit is not required. If a permit is not required, please note, however, you are still responsible for ensuring that work shall not pollute any stream or water body. Care shall be taken to stabilize any disturbed areas promptly after construction, and all necessary precautions shall be taken to prevent contamination of the stream or water body, silt, sediment, fuel, solvents, lubricants, or any other pollutant associated with the project. Freshwater wetlands. This project site is not within New York State protected freshwater wetland. Water quality certification. The project site appears to contain a federally regulated wetland area. If the United States Army Corps of Engineers requires a permit for work completed in or impacting a federal wetland or waters of the U.S., you will need a Section 401 water quality certification from the department. State listed species. The DEC has reviewed the state's national heritage records. No records of sensitive resources were identified by this review. The absence of data does not necessarily mean that rare or state-listed species, natural communities, or other significant habitats do not exist on or adjacent to the proposed site. Rather, our files currently do not contain information which indicates their presence. For most sites, comprehensive field surveys have not been conducted. We cannot provide a definitive statement on the presence or absence of all rare or state-listed species or significant natural communities. Depending on the nature of the project and the conditions at the project site, further information from on-site surveyors or other sources may be required to fully assess impacts on biological resources. Cultural resources. We have reviewed the statewide inventory of archaeological resources maintained by the New York State Museum and the State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. These records indicate that the project is located within an area considered to be sensitive with regard to archaeological resources. The project sponsor should submit project materials to New York State Historic Preservation Office's online cultural resources information system to initiate the review process. Information on submitting to the system and access to it are available at their website. Other permits from this department or other agencies may be required for projects conducted on this property now or in the future. Also, regulations applicable to locations subject to this determination occasionally are revised, and the project sponsor should therefore verify the need for permits if your project is delayed or postponed. This letter is signed by Christina Pasella, Division of Environmental Permits, Region 3. And I have a letter that was sent originally to the planning board, but the neighbor asked me to please read this into the record for this meeting. To the members of the Orangetown Planning Board, thank you for your recent postal notification regarding the above agenda item and for providing us the opportunity to respond to the upcoming pre-preliminary review meeting on May 27, 2020. Since changes and/or use of this property has previously been presented and decided upon by the planning board before, it is surprising to see this matter once again appear in a new package. Still, as our family has lived on Park Avenue since 1958, now 62 years, it is again important and necessary for us to comment and recall our continuing strong opposition to any proposal or change to the status or configuration of this non-conforming property. Now as in the past, opposition to change related to this property has again been voiced by other residents on Park Avenue. Please note, we, Eileen, apologize for the handwritten letter. We are currently without a computer and normally would have gone to the public library to use a computer word processor. However, due to the COVID-19 crisis, all libraries have been closed. Oh, how I need spell checkers. And while we are grateful to have received your letter notification, we would have liked a bit more lead time to be able to fully address many concerns connected to this property issue. Continuing with a planning board meeting amidst the coronavirus pandemic, technology or not, is presenting us with some barriers. Staying home, sheltering has prevented discovery of notices posted on telephone poles. Nevertheless, we are quickly writing the following list of immediate concerns which require further exploration before any change should even be considered. Any change on Park Avenue has the potential to impact every other street: Scotty, Bergen, Broad, Morningside, and Maroni, residences and person. Here is our list of concerns. 1, drainage, a major chronic year-round concern, which includes water flow, insurance of proper and rapid water, rain, snow movement, the drainage ditch, the stream connecting to Sparko Creek just beyond the ditch and runs along the New Jersey state line, flooded yards and basements, environmental designated wetlands. Each summer, the Rockland County Department of Health sprays the ditch area monthly in attempts to control serious mosquito problems, protection of our wells and safe, clean drinking water. A majority of our homes do not have public water, ours included. New York, New Jersey state line, Rockland Industrial Park is literally right through the trees. Past history of EPA monitoring of wells just on the other side of the state line in New Jersey. Acknowledged dumping by a company in Northfield, New Jersey, which led to extreme concern in testing of our drinking water. Sewer line running along New York state line, which experienced a serious leak, break, sewage bubbling in neighbor's backyard, and resulted in emergency weekend extensive repair. Once again, homeowners worried about threats to clean, safe drinking water. This serious incident happened in the yard right next to the proposed lane re-subdivision. Residents later attended an Orangetown board meeting, reasoned the contract between Orangetown and Rockland, New Jersey, and this sewer line. 3, congestion, traffic, and overall neighborhood safety. The unique makeup of our neighborhood and streets. Maroni Avenue, a narrow, much-used street, is a town road. It is the only way in and the only way out of our neighborhood. All of the streets are undedicated, so-called private. Residents on each street must decide about the street's care and repair. Some streets are paved, others only partly. Maroni gets nonstop traffic, followed probably by Park Avenue, as one-time homes had 1 or 2 cars. Now it is not unusual to have 2, 3, or more cars per home. There are 40+ homes in our neighborhood. There is only 1 fire hydrant located at the corner of Maroni and Morningside for our entire neighborhood. Clearly, this hydrant must work at all times. Town of Orangetown decided not to demap Scotty Avenue based upon the neighborhood's potential need for additional water lines to be brought down Scotty Avenue for additional fire hydrants. At the time, approximately 13, 14 years ago, the town board reasoned that the many homes had only Maroni Avenue to enter and exit. Again, the future might require another street to be open. This might need to be Scotty Avenue. Emergencies, as it stands now, depending solely on Maroni, does not leave much wiggle room in times of emergency. Additionally, our entire neighborhood is substantially busier than years ago. Maroni is constantly active with cars, delivery trucks, landscapers, children on bikes, motorized vehicles, parents walking babies, toddlers. The 30-mile speed limit is much too fast. Maroni is also the designated area for green waste pickup, as residents on the private streets must bring all their yard waste and debris over to Maroni. Things can get pretty crowded on Maroni, and residents on Maroni must deal with lots of waste dumped on their property or at the edge of the street. What about the 10-foot discrepancy at the state line? Suburban legend or fact? It has long been held that there is a 10-foot discrepancy at the New York-New Jersey state line, causing property lines to be off by 10 feet. Over the years, most recently 2 years ago, we watched yet another surveyor pull out his hair as he attempted to make sense of our street. I suspected what was going on, went out and spoke with him, providing not only the idea of the 10-foot discrepancy, but also showing him a marker on our property line to assist with his measurements. No more hair on the ground, just a giant exhalation and sincere thanks for the explanation. He continued with his job, which seemed considerably easier. These are concerns which require exploration, yet in the end, we returned to our firm opposition to any change regarding this property. Cobbling together small parcels of land next to the state line where there are a multitude of complications can be done. The question is why? Who will really benefit? The board's decision for one resident may not benefit many others, but in fact impact them adversely in the long run. Thank you for your time and consideration. Doris G. Berg, homeowner, resident and mother, and Eileen G. Berg, resident and daughter. And then I have an email dated September 1st, 2020. We with other residents, this is from Helena Power and Terrence Fox. We with other residents in this small area of Palisades count on the zoning board to work in the best interest of the community in which we live. We look to each of you to hold homeowners and developers accountable and to help us maintain a standard and a quality of life in this small middle-class pocket of Palisades. As residents of Park Avenue, we have concerns about the development at the end of Park Avenue. Please take a close look at all of the items that must be included above and underground on this undersized, wet, swampy lot. This proposed home site does not meet even the minimum that would be required to make it viable. The lot is undersized and does not meet R15 zoning. The existing sewer line, which flows to New Jersey, is at capacity. Therefore, sewage must be routed back to New York. A private well for water must be excavated in an area where at least 29 homes get water from this single source. The planning board package submitted by Lane, along with the current zoning board package supplied by Lane, both state in the area of cultural resource that this undersized lot is considered to be land that is archaeologically sensitive. Through SHPO, a CRIS filing is required. Has that been filed? On page 3 of the application review form provided by the developer under environmental constraints, wetland is not checked, although the undersized lot is composed of 33% wetland deregulated without public input through a nationwide permit. Though deregulated, it is still wetland. Underground utilities are proposed for this undersized lot in muddy area of wetland. Underground pipe detention system and catch basin is needed because the area is swampy. 47 trees will be removed. This information is based on the Lane subdivision plan submitted for the May 27th planning board meeting. Hundreds of yards of fill and hundreds of square feet of macadam will be required to develop the undersized lot, which is at the end of an undedicated town road that residents pay thousands of dollars to maintain. Mr. Dean, highway supervisor, wrote in his notes on this proposal that Park Avenue is a private road. It is our understanding that it is an undedicated town road. Is this material to our situation? Developer proposes to veer Park Avenue southeast out on an angle to avoid the drain culvert, which sits where Park Avenue currently ends and becomes a seasonal stream in the spring. Easement to access seem likely given the awkward layout of this area. The undersized lot on the New Jersey border, has this municipality been notified? The Rockley Industrial Park borders the property with its lights, trucks, cars, and large commercial buildings. Noise and lights are a consistent problem along this border. Development of this parcel will eliminate the buffer between a family neighborhood and a large, busy industrial park. Nearest fire hydrant is several blocks away. Thank you in advance for your consideration in this matter. and Helena Power and Terrence Fox live at 152 Park Avenue. Then I have another email dated September 1st. In this, members of the zoning board, I am writing to express concerns my husband and I, as well as other residents, have regarding ZBA number 2055 and a proposed new home on this Park Avenue property in Palisades. As current residents of the neighborhood, we would like to ask the board to address and thoroughly evaluate some issues in this matter. These would include, but are not limited to, residential water supply, drainage, waste management, Rockley Industrial Park, residential traffic, wildlife, and open space. The neighborhood consists of the many homes on the private, undedicated streets extending from Maroney Avenue, including Park Avenue, who rely on wells for water. Thus, numerous homes draw from the same already strained water source. Adding additional housing seems to unfairly jeopardize the water supply to current residents. Drainage in this area is a perennial problem. Private road residents must deal with these issues themselves. The subject lot is mainly swampy wetland. Construction of a new home and altering the contour of the land is likely to alter drainage and can increase the amount of surface water that drains onto neighboring properties or change where it flows, causing new drainage and flooding issues for current residents. Sewers and waste removal are concerns as well. Additionally, Rockley Industrial Park, located in Rockley, New Jersey, borders the neighborhood and lies directly on the border of the southwest areas of the subject lot. This has long been an issue and an eyesore for residents. Currently, a line of trees form a natural buffer to block the view, lights, and noise from the park. Construction on the lot jeopardizes this buffer. The subject lot area is also part of a natural habitat of several different species of wildlife. Another concern is residential traffic and safety. This is a neighborhood comprised of narrow, dead-end streets with only one way in and out. While the traffic from one new home seems inconsequential, it is the dangerous precedent that is set and the domino effect that leads to an increase in traffic. We go from 1 to 2 new homes and so on. This is not the first home added to the neighborhood in recent years. Of great concern is also the subject of open space and the ability to maintain some through the town of Orangetown. As a lifelong Orangetown resident, I have seen what was once a relatively rural upstate area develop into an overcrowded town. While growth and expansion are expected and healthy to a degree, squeezing homes onto every available parcel of land is not. I have watched houses, developments pop up in the most unlikely of places, and the tearing down of trees and imposing construction on already stressed and overpopulated neighborhoods is becoming overbearing. Finally, the circumstances of COVID-19 and restrictions have hindered this process by not allowing proper access to meetings, information, and ability to further research the issue. Apparently, notifications of the project fell short last May, as many residents, including myself, did not receive any notice regarding the first meeting of this matter. We were only made aware of this application within the last few weeks. In addition, there are those who are not familiar enough with technology to be able to participate in teleconference meetings, especially the elderly. I was informed that some people aware of the May meeting wanted to make statements but were unable to do so. This should be a matter where everyone is thoroughly informed and able to be involved. In light of the aforementioned, I respectfully ask that the board consider the issues and the quality of life and proper values of current neighborhood residents. We entrust that you will take responsibility to protect our interests as well. Thank you for your time and consideration. Michelle Monte, 135 Broad Avenue, Palisades. And then I have one last letter dated September 2nd, 2020.
You're doing great, Debbie. You're almost there.
I'm sorry, I have one more letter and one more email. Thank you for the opportunity to comment at tonight's zoning board meeting for application ZBA number 2055, application for lane re-subdivision. In late May 2020, we submitted a letter in opposition to any changes in status and or building located on this Park Avenue property. We live next door and have resided in our home since 1958. Over these many years, we have seen much development and have experienced working with the town of Orangetown planning, building, zoning included. On Monday, August 31st, 2020, we called your office for info, reason this meeting, and to request that our original letter from the May 2020 also be included in tonight's meeting record. We remain firmly opposed to any changes related to the Benny property. First and foremost, we and others in our neighborhood were very disheartened by the May 2020 decision for re-subdivision. At that May meeting, our household had attempted to comment via the telephone. We had listened carefully for approximately 1 hour and then were not able to be unmuted. A call to the planning board the next morning explained that there had been glitches and technical problems throughout the meeting. The problem was we and others attended virtually online and on phone only to be completely shut out. We wish that the record had correctly reflected this. In addition, upon receiving the letter of notification for tonight's meeting a little more than a week ago, we and others were surprised to see that this meeting was scheduled before Labor Day, as many people, some of our neighbors, are winding down the summer, returning from vacation, and concentrating on this unusual back-to-school season. It became even more puzzling upon learning that the Orangetown meeting, which took place last night, Tuesday, September 1st, was conducted in person. With further inquiry, we learned that in upcoming meetings would resume in mid-September in person. COVID-19 has deeply affected everyone, interrupted our daily lives, yet it now seems possible that the agenda for tonight's meeting could have been scheduled for that upcoming in-person meeting in mid-September. Our previous letter includes a long list of ongoing and long-standing concerns regarding this new re-subdivision, as well as existing situations in our extended neighborhood. Tonight, we encourage the Orangetown Zoning Board of Appeals to consider and factor in the following: the legal and hopefully lasting definition of R15 and not the often dumbed down and down-zoned substitute, in this case meant to accommodate property that does not now and never did meet the legal definition. Our neighborhood's unique circumstances, no access to public water, reliance on wells, so-called private streets, Maroney Avenue as our only way in and out for 40 houses, increased activity, people, traffic congestion, more cars, delivery trucks, landscapers, all attempting to travel along narrow Maroney Avenue. Safety, there is only one fire hydrant located at the corner of Maroney and Morningside Avenues to service blocks and blocks of homes. The hydrant is located very far from the Lane re-subdivision property. We all continually hope and pray that the hydrant works. Orangetown's decisions are significant and affect not simply the immediate parties involved, but the entire surrounding neighborhood community. Absolute care and expertise must be taken to understand and make a ruling based on the whole picture. Too often, our neighborhood has experienced decisions which may have worked for one homeowner while not at all being helpful or beneficial to others. It is gratifying when a decision encompasses the fullest understanding of the situation. An example, some quick history. Approximately 13 to 15 years ago, an Orangetown meeting was conducted and asked to decide about the possible demapping of Scotty Avenue, once open from Route 342 to Morningside Avenue, then on paper through Broad Street and Park Avenue, finally re-emerging as a working private undedicated street where 3 homes are located. A resident who had moved to the Carolinas and rented her house on Morningside had returned and applied to demap Scotty so she could have use of the land. Thus the request. A petition against the demapping circulated with many signatures, resulting. The meeting was a packed house. After much discussion, Orangetown decided and voted not to demap Scotty, reasoning the following: Maroney was the sole way in and out. Increased population, use, activity, congestion. Safety was key. One sole fire hydrant was not adequate. Water lines might be necessary along Scotty for additional hydrants. Scotty might need to be opened in the future to deal with the growing congestion. Scotty would remain on the map as our neighborhood security blanket. It's now September 2020. We still have only one hydrant. That meeting of long ago Also concluded that a water line might come down Maroney with hydrant at the corner of Maroney and Park. No need to unnecessarily dig up Scotty. Decision-making on behalf of many is not easy. Everyone will not be satisfied. Thankfully, we have laws, rules, regulations, zoning requirements, codes to serve as guideposts. We hope that when decisions are made, that they are just, fair, and according to law. We fear that in the present care, tonight's agenda item, ZBA number 2055, that the needs and financial gain of two parties may be placed over what is ultimately best for all, perhaps too honest, but still a fear. It is equally regrettable to consider that one and or both parties will probably not choose to reside in our neighborhood. The Benny property house was for sale in the past 2 years. Any difficulties will then be left to the neighbors to contend with. People are human. They watch what has just happened around the block. Some may also decide to stretch, challenge, reimagine, and test the meaning of the once clearly understood and respected R15. We conclude as we started, we remain firmly in opposition to any changes related to the Benny property. Thank you for your time, attention, and consideration. Eileen G. Berg, resident and daughter, Doris G. Berg, homeowner, resident, and mother. And one last thing. This is dated September 2nd. It's an email that came in today from Shelley Lennox at 156 Park Avenue. This memo addresses some of the major concerns I, among other residents in this idyllic section of Palisades, have about the re-subdivision proposal. Although all of these could be categorized under negative environmental health impact and regulatory inconsistency, the primary issues are specified below. 1, the removal of nearly 50 trees from this undersized lot. R15 requirement opens a significant buffer between our residential community and a large industrial complex, exposing us to substantial light, noise, and other forms of pollution. 2, 1/3 of the undersized parcel is wetland, not indicated in the application review form, but requiring strong regulatory fulfillment. 3, current sewer line at capacity. Portable water for additional home not known. 4, Park Avenue location of proposed structure is an undedicated town road, private, thus maintained by its residents, has not been addressed. I implore the zoning board to attend carefully to these and other concerns of paramount importance to the residents of this wonderful community. When deciding whether or not to relocate here over 20 years ago, my husband and I perceived that the adjacent industrial area was the only potential obstacle to occupancy. After speaking to residents and visiting the area multiple times, doubts were removed and expectations fulfilled nearly a quarter century later. Affirmative action on this proposal would have changed my decision then and led to serious discussion with my family about future plans. And that, thank goodness, is done with the correspondence.
Great, thank you very much, Debbie. I think you need a round of applause for that one.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, so I have Stuart Stroh, Margaret and Ed Lane. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Yes.
And Margaret? Sorry, I can barely hear you there. Okay, thank you. All right, Mike.
Okay, ZBA number 20-55, application of lane re-subdivision for variance from zoning code, chapter 43 of the Town of Orangetown Code, chapter 43, R15 district, group M, section 3.12, column 5, lot area 15,000 square feet required, 14,443 proposed, and for an exception from New York State Town Law, section 280-A, for a new single-family dwelling on the new property, I assume. The property is located at 125 Park Avenue, Palisades, New York, as identified on the Orangetown tax map as section 77.20, block 2, lot 76, in the R15 zoning district. Okay, could you give us a little, just rundown of what you wanted to do? We've heard a lot already, just in your words. Applicant?
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. Stuart Stroh, I'm the engineer for the applicant. I'd like to just make a very brief presentation. I think the board is clear on the facts and purpose of this application. This is a proposed application for a lot area variance. The parcel consists of 14,443 square feet, whereas 15,000 square feet are required. Also an application for a 280A variance to allow construction of a dwelling on a lot that does not have access to an improved street along its frontage. The matter appeared at the planning board on May 27, 2020, at which time the lot line revision was approved. So the three existing lots were merged into a single lot. However, that single lot is still less than the minimum required lot area, and thus the application this evening. At that planning board meeting, a negative declaration was granted, but that was for the lot line revision only. As part of the condition of that approval, this matter has to return to the planning board for a site plan approval. And it is at that time that many of the comments that were received from the residents would be properly addressed. The matter tonight is simply for approval of the reduced lot area and the 280A variance. The applicant understands that there are concerns about drainage, water supply, and the various other comments that were raised. They are valid comments and concerns from the neighbors, but the proper place for addressing those is at the planning board during the site plan approval process. I think the most important correspondence in support of our application is the letter dated June 3rd, 2020 from Superintendent of Highways James Dean, who indicates that his department has no objection to the access driveway, to the driveway for the proposed dwelling being constructed within the right of way. The application, we believe, is a significant improvement above the existing nonconformity of the three lots that previously existed. Merged together, they come much closer to the minimum required area than any of the individual lots did. So this was considered a subdivision or a lot line or revision or a re-subdivision, but it effectively improved the lot area by creating just a single lot, whereas three lots existed. And I suppose theoretically 3 homes could have been built. So I don't really have anything more to present. I would prefer to answer any questions that the board members might have. Thank you.
You know what size the other 3 lots were on square footage wise? I guess we could divide it up pretty much, right? In 3.
They were not equal, but I can tell you, if you give me one moment, please, I'll tell you the answer to that.
Okay.
Two of the lots were 5,000 square feet, and one of the lots was 4,443 square feet.
Do we know, were they buildable lots? Do we know as a Debbie? Those, you know that?
They were taxable lots for all these years. They could have been 3 small. I mean, I'm sure they would have needed variance. They would definitely needed 280A, an undersized lot, and probably side yard, unless they built like a,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's important.
They were legal buildable lots because taxes were paid on them all these years.
That's important for me. If you could have built 3 small houses. Okay. Thank you.
Now, while I agree with the concept of the variances that are in front of us are pretty standard, especially when it comes to subdivision, because you are just approving square footage and a 280A, which those are pretty standard things that we get. What concerns me is that the public seems to not have had a voice in the preliminary planning meeting. As one, the second thing that I don't necessarily agree with, because I don't know the answer. And Stuart, maybe you can shed some light on this. If these are deemed wetlands, wouldn't you have to replace the wetlands that you're removing? And if so, how does that impact the square footage or the livable square footage of the lot?
There is a wetland on the lot, and the applicant has received an approval from the Army Corps of Engineers to fill 1/10 of an acre of that wetland. And that would be done as part of the construction of the home. There's no requirement to replace that acreage of wetland. According to the nationwide permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the applicant is allowed to fill up to 1/10 of an acre. And that is what is being proposed on this project. And there is documentation from the Army Corps of Engineers approving that proposed area.
Do you have a document of that? Do we receive that?
It was provided at the planning board level, and I'm not sure if it was relevant to what we're talking about tonight, but we certainly can provide it.
It was probably Cheryl's file, but I didn't see it.
I thought I read something.
No, you did. Number 8 says no filling of the wetlands on the site until the site plan returns to the planning board for a site plan review, including the cutting down of any trees at the site.
That's correct. We weren't allowed to actually do it until such time as we return to planning board for the site plan. But we did get the approval from the Army Corps to do it if the planning board approves it.
So is that part of something we have to, that's not anything that we're going to vote on tonight, is it?
No, well, they're looking for just the square footage, which is 557 variance for lot area.
Oh, I
And,
understand that.
I mean, a 288, that's really all they're looking at for us. No, I'm just curious to see, I was curious to see how that, and Debbie, maybe you know the answer to this. Does the wetlands reduce the square footage of the lot, the usable square footage of the lot?
I don't know. That's more planning issue. I just know steep slopes reduces, but I don't think wetland. But I really don't know.
You wouldn't be able to, because that third lot, that pie-shaped lot wouldn't even be usable then if that was the case, because that's where most of the wetlands stand.
Yeah,
So
no,
that couldn't even be a buildable. It wouldn't have been able to be a buildable lot in general. So the three of them, you have to be able to build on it.
yeah, no, Debbie jogged my memory. That's what I was thinking. Well, steep slopes. What is? So here you go. Number 17. The applicant's consultant had submitted lane re-subdivision to the United States Army Corps of Engineers as a pre-construction notification of the proposed filling of 1/10 of an acre of jurisdictional wetlands as allowed under the nationwide permit number 29 for residential development. The application was dated October 4th, 2019, and on number 27 pre-construction notification page 11/11/94 in the Federal Register, volume 72, states blah blah blah. Okay.
Okay, on the site plan, they've got proposed wetland fill area of 4,343. Does that help?
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I just wasn't familiar with
About
that.
a 10th of an acre or so.
Okay. I don't know, any further questions from the board before I go to public?
Hello. I have a question.
Or sorry, are you, well, hold on one second.
Yes.
We didn't open it up to the public yet.
Oh, sorry.
Anybody from the board? We good on that? Okay, so for the public, I'm going to ask that you unmute your phone, and I don't know how we're going to do one at a time, but if you give me your names and we'll, whoever, I guess whoever shouts loudest will go first.
I'm Helena Power.
Just hold on. So I'm sorry, I got to take down your name, address.
152 Park Avenue, Palisades.
Okay.
And I'm
And do you
with
swear to-
Terry.
Hold on. Hold on.
I'm sorry, I'm with Terry Fox, my husband. He's here too, and he lives at the same address.
Gotcha. Okay, and do you both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. We do.
Great, thank you. All right, go ahead, Helena.
I
Sorry, and before you start, Helena, I just want to mention to all the neighbors, the variance that they're asking for tonight, I don't say unfortunately, but it is primarily an insignificant variance that a 280A is really just a lot that doesn't have street frontage, which you see with flag lots. The square footage of the lot itself is 557 feet short of being a usable or a typical standard R15 lot. So those are the only, that is what we're voting on tonight. In terms of the concern of trees getting cut down, the lack of communication at the first planning board meeting, which I gotta be honest with you, and I told the town board that this was gonna happen when we started this, that there wasn't gonna be an issue such as that, and this is a pretty significant issue, because I do see a lot of neighbors, or at least people from the public on the call tonight. And if you do run into that issue again at the next planning board meeting, so the next process, and Debbie, back me up on this, it's going to go to Akabor and then back to the planning board.
I'm pretty sure it's scheduled for Act Board next, and then it goes back to planning.
Okay, and to the public, at any one of those meetings, if you're unable to communicate or get your point across, and if you did call the next day and they said, well, there were technical errors, there is an appeal process called an Article 78 that you should be filing, and basically you're appealing to the town that you weren't able to get to weigh in at the public meeting. And so I suggest that all of the public, if you're not able to comment, that you do that. It's not gonna, I mean, Denise on the phone, she's gonna tell the town attorney that I said this, but it's gonna cause them a lot of work. But if you're unable to get your point across, that's your avenue for appeal for what you were unable to say. Unfortunately, at the first planning board meeting, we're past that time frame for the appeal. So now you have to look forward and voice your concerns, again, outside of what we're looking at tonight, which are, just no street frontage and a marginally smaller lot than what's typically permitted in town. But is focused on those next two meetings at Akabor and planning if you have concerns that you want to have addressed. So,
yeah.
Sorry, kind of a long-winded
That's okay.
intro. I just want to make sure that everybody understood the process of what we're looking at tonight, and how to, really drive forward all of the things that we heard tonight in terms of the trees, and not being able to voice your concerns at the first planning meeting. So, okay, sorry, Helena, I stole your thunder.
We can't hear her now.
Uh-oh, now we can't hear her. She's gonna appeal tomorrow.
Bottom left of the screen. Actually, center of your screen. Center.
You know what?
There you are.
Patricia, I leaned forward. That was my problem.
Now
Because
you shut your camera off, though.
oh my God. That's okay. That's okay. I look pretty bad right now. It's a long day. I want to get to a couple of questions first. Stuart Stroh referred to the significant part of his presentation was the letter from Mr. Dean at the Highway Department. referring to saying he has no problem with this particular road. Now, my question to you is, can a homeowner and a developer decide to veer an undedicated town road onto the homeowner's property to access another lot without the approval of all of the homeowners on the street?
That's a legal technical question. I don't know who'd be able to answer that. Denise, do you know where that would get directed to?
I didn't really understand the question at all. He's getting access through Park Avenue, which is an undedicated road. It's a private road.
Right. The lot, in order to get to this house, whoops, is that me? Did I do that? No. In order to get to this lot, the road, Park Avenue, is going to have to veer on. That's exactly right. You're highlighting it now. Veer on to the current homeowner's property. And will it require an easement? I think Mr. Dean kind of gave this a pass without really reviewing it, because my question is, if the road is maintained and it is our responsibility, how is it possible that the homeowner and a developer can decide to extend the road onto the homeowner's property to access a lot that would not be accessible if they went straight ahead, because there is a drainage ditch or a seasonal stream there that has to be maintained? That's my question. That's one. So, and we can also wonder, is there an easement with that? I'm wondering.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at it, I mean, they're putting the road into the right of way. So yes, it seems that they're able to build that. Obviously, there'd have to be, I don't even know if there'd be permits on that if it's not a town road.
Right. Yeah, I don't know either. I was wondering about that.
Is it their
on
property?
Sorry, Mike?
Is it their property?
No, it's in the right of way of the neighbor, right? So I mean, here's the right of way for Park Avenue. I mean, that's the paper road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
mean, the fact that it comes around like that, I don't have a response to
You
that.
have to, I mean, you still can't deny someone access to their property, right? And so regardless,
Right.
you have to do that.
yeah,
And if they had to avert it to one side because of a culvert or some other drainage ditch or something of that nature, that's what they did. Knowing though that if they have to get in there, they would have to dig that up again in order to get to what they need to.
Right.
That's what that happens.
Yeah. Okay.
My other, I'm sorry, I just have two other questions and they'll be quick. On the SHPO and that is the State Historic Preservation Office, which required the filing. It required a CRIS, which is a cultural resource document. I don't see that information has been supplied. It was requested by the DEC. What's the status of that, Mr. Stroud?
Okay. Well, actually, ask your questions. The way this works is when I open public hearing, you could ask all the questions, and then I'll close the public portion. He's going to have a chance to rebut all the answer all of that.
You said that. I'm sorry.
Again, that isn't part of something that we are looking at here today. That would be something that would be back at the planning board.
Okay. And my other question is, my last question is, the New Jersey Department of Historic Preservation should have been notified about this as well, because under the area of cultural resources, the area is shared in terms of archaeological sensitivity. So I want to know what is happening with that, because we are right on the border.
Right. Okay. Is that it, Helena?
That's it. Yeah, that's it for me.
Great. All right. Does Terry have anything to say?
Gary, no. You
He's
covered
good?
a lot of ground.
Okay, great. A lot of letters, right? All right, next up. Does anybody, next person wants to be heard?
Yes, my name is James Benny. I'm the adjacent property owner.
Okay.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Sullivan, for pointing out the fact that the road is in the right of way. It's not on my
All right, hold on,
property.
James, can I, do you sort of tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So
I
help you?
certainly do.
And your address is?
135 Park Ave.
Great, thank you. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I just want to thank you for pointing out the fact that the road proposed driveway is not on my property. It's in the right of way, as it was misstated by Ms. Power. So I just want to thank you for making that correction and pointing out that it is the right of way. It's not on my property. I'm not giving him access through my property to get to that lot.
Okay.
Is what's suggested. Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, next person.
Hello, this is Ann Savatieri.
Okay, hi Ann, and where do you live, Ann?
I live at 162 Park Avenue.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the
Could you
truth, the whole truth?
just spell your last name, please?
I was waiting for that. It's S-A-V as in Victor, A-T-T-I-E-R-I.
And I'm sorry, the address 162 Park?
Yep.
Thank you.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Great, thank you. Okay, good.
So I want to make sure I understand what was being said by you before regarding when the public is allowed to speak. Because I'll be honest, I did not get a notification of this meeting. My neighbors were telling me it was tonight. I did not, I live on the street and I didn't see any type of notification. I do remember getting the previous one, but I was unable to attend that. But my question is, you're saying that you kind of said like, oh, we're concerned about trees. I think we're all concerned much more than just trees. I've lived here for just 20 years now, raised my family here. Everything they're saying is very true. This is a very congested neighborhood, and the way we all live nowadays has made access on and off of our neighborhood very difficult. And I realize you're saying, this really has nothing to do with what they're filing for tonight. I don't see how that property could have ever held, 3 small lots. I think this whole neighborhood, as much as I love it here, the lots are kind of misaligned, and, my yard is facing Park, but backs up to Maroney. It's, I'm right on the corner. The private road is definitely an issue. I am one of the people that gets to house everyone's leaves every year, and there's just not enough room for, for James Dean to say anything about it's okay for them to come down these roads. He needs to take a ride with some of his people before they get to Palisades to pick up leaves in the fall, because the access down here is just not good. After this past storm we had, it kind of looked like a third world country. We had piles for the longest time, and access is not good. And, not having another way on and off the block is very concerning. So I get what you're saying, and I don't want to take up anyone's time. I think there's a lot of us in the neighborhood that are on the call and that probably feel the same way. But if tonight's not the appropriate time for that, I'd like to know when is, because I definitely think you've acknowledged there's enough of us here that have legitimate concerns about access to, emergency vehicles, access to the one and only water hydrant.
And I'll say that I'll say that we've all been in this area, and I drive a pickup truck. I think Mike and Tommy do too. It's not easy to turn around. We're familiar with that neighborhood and going back there when we go visit properties. So we are familiar with that area back there. And in terms of what happened at the planning board, so they do a preliminary approval after it goes through. They're saying, this looks, I guess, amenable to take forward to the other boards and see what they have to say, right? So the other boards would be us, and then Akabor, and then that's when it goes back to the planning board. The planning board has final say on really the plan that has been put together after it's been, put through the ringer. I mean, to think that this one property could have been split up into three is just unimaginable. I don't know how conceptually that would have happened. So I mean, what the next steps and processes are. I mean, again, this paper street, which has been here probably forever, is really what this 280A is saying. They want to expand that to widen the roads down here. I don't know who you take that up with. It's just not, it doesn't, we don't have a say in how wide the roads are and what can be done about the emergency access and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know that you would, because technically we're on a private road. Maroni itself also becomes private right at my corner. So I feel like, to add anything else to this, the houses are very close together. The noise volume during the last blackout, the generators could be heard all over the neighborhood. It sounded like it was in your own house. Unfortunately, I didn't have a generator, but I was listening to everyone. Does everyone hear my dog? This is embarrassing, but anyway, I think that, I just feel that there's enough of us on this call, and there were enough letters written and enough concerns over multiple issues that I would really like to know, if tonight is not the appropriate time to voice these concerns, when do we need to do that? Is it that second, when it goes back to the planning board? My concern is it going to be too late to say that, a bunch of us are not sure that this is the safest thing to do in our neighborhood without serious modifications?
Denise, do you want to take that?
Those are issues that the planning board will deal with. They haven't gotten final approval yet. They've only had preliminary review. It has to go back if it obtains the variances here tonight. It goes to ACABOR, and then it goes back to the planning board, and you can continue on bringing up these concerns that you have.
Okay.
But then they may have more answers to the details that are all listed in PB number 20-17, which is available online, and you can go and look at all the backup that should be online. If it's not online, you can request it from the planning board clerk.
And I think one of our concerns is that this decision tonight, even though it's, and I say only, it's only a 280A, and it's only a 557 variance from the normal lot size. That doesn't preclude the application from getting approved at the planning board. It's still open and can be denied at that point. Is that right, Denise?
Yes, you're correct.
Does that help, Ann?
I think so. I just feel that it's a pretty small lot to begin with. We have a lot of small lots here, and I just don't know that I think it's going to add anything to this neighborhood that I've enjoyed living in for the last 20 years.
It's a good argument, and yeah, I do understand that. Okay, next up.
Michelle Manti.
Hold on, Michelle Manti. M-A-N-T-E, right?
Correct.
Okay. And where do you live, Michelle?
135 Broad Avenue, Palisades.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Okay.
So I just have a question. You're saying basically it's barely short of 15,000 square feet, the requirement.
Right.
And you've asked about taking down trees in the other, issues here tonight. I'm just wondering why that isn't an issue on this lot, and what issues are you looking at? What, you're basically telling us that, well, it almost meets the requirements, so we're going to approve it. But is there anything else that you're looking at on this that, our issues don't pertain to what you're going to decide here tonight?
No, because
So what do you look at?
When something comes to us that's been pre-approved by the planning board as a subdivision, and it's reasonable in perspective, we can't increase the lot size, right? Because it's 14 or 47. We can't increase the lot size that has been preliminary approved by the planning board. Preliminary approved, right? I mean, that's the main thing that we're talking about here.
Gotcha.
So, and for 553 square feet, which we find around town quite a bit, it's never, I don't say never, it's rarely 15,000 exactly. I think in one case tonight on Robinson, he was 332 square feet over. It's the same R15 district, just
Right,
in
okay, yeah.
Pearl River, not Palisades. Right, so when we look at it that way, the reasonableness of 14,447, we can't, I don't say we can't, but it doesn't, it's hard for us to say no to that number that we're looking at on paper.
Yeah,
In
I
terms of-
understand now. Now, I didn't realize the pre-approval factored into this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so that, I mean, in this case, it's not significant. In some cases, and we'll call it a different zone where they want less square footage. So if it was a zone that had to be half of an acre or 22,000 square feet, and they wanted to come in for 18,000 square feet, we might have reason to say, well, no, we don't think it's in keeping with the neighborhood.
Right.
Right. So in this case, it's a smaller variance that it's more reasonable it's hard to say that, it's not in keeping with the neighborhood, the lot size itself.
And to that point though, the 3 separate lots is definitely not in keeping with the neighborhood, right? So unfortunately, they could have been built on 3 separate lots, which is significantly worse, in my opinion.
Well, right. If they came to us that's a good point, Mike. If they came to us with a 50 by 100, if those were 3 lots, we potentially, in an R15 zone, we could potentially say, Michelle, at that point, no, we don't approve that because you're trying to cram in too many houses into this tighter area. I mean, can you imagine if 3 more houses were back there?
But they would be considered non-conforming buildable lots, so we would have to take it into consideration too. So it would be either way, and I agree. I'm not saying either way. I'm just saying that we have to take that into consideration as well.
Right.
Does that help?
Yes, yes. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate your time.
Sure. Okay, who's up next? Any other takers? I see caller number 1, a caller number 10. Don DeRisi, James Benny. We heard from Joanne, John, Jordan Baker, Kathy Vanderland. ST, and I think that's it. So if anybody's having trouble unmuting, if you could press that chat. Yeah, there you go. Who's that?
This is Terry Fox. Just to clarify,
Sorry, what's your name?
This is Terry Fox. I was sworn in already, so I think I'm good to go still.
Yep, you're good to go.
Yeah, just a clarification on the Park Avenue as the road. The proposed plot plan shows the road bending to the left. The question wasn't specifically, is an easement required through private property? And maybe this is a question for the planning board, is because the road proposal at the planning board, on the plot plan, goes left of the culvert. Yeah, it does not go on the Benny property. There was no question of that. That's not the point of the question. The question is, and maybe you don't have the answer, is there a setback required to allow the road to go left? Interestingly, Dean called it a parking area, which I don't know what that means, why he approved in his letter calling it a parking area. And clearly the road does not go on the Benny property. That was not the point. The point is to allow, and again, this, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly from you clarified before, and I appreciate that, the road bending to the left, that is there a setback? Because, roads are perpendicular and lateral, right? They go straight up and down in this particular neighborhood. So this road proposal going to the left. I understand, it's clearly understood. It's not on another person's property, but is this anything that you would consider? Because there's now no setback, or whatever the normal setback on a private road or an undedicated town road is. It's an abnormal move, but Dean called it a parking lot. Not a parking lot, parking space. It's a road.
Okay, so
So I don't know if Dean has been down here. I can't, and again, this is not for you to answer, and we'll come back to the
Yeah.
planning board. It
yeah,
was
I'll just I
interesting.
could shed some light on it. Like so.
Yeah, that's just an interesting point. And that was just we're looking for a clarification, and
Okay, so-
maybe you're not the place, but that's okay. That was the point of that question.
Well, we're not. So, but you're talking about setbacks. So setbacks start at the right
Setbacks,
of
right.
way. So this is 30-foot setback from the right of way. What I've highlighted is the paper road, and that's what you'll see all around this neighborhood. Now, even though these roads are only 10 feet wide, it doesn't mean that they can't be 30 feet or 50 feet wide, rather. So this is 50-foot right of way. So this can be all macadam that you're looking at right here.
Right.
If the town were to come in and say, we want to put a 50-foot road in here,
right,
which they don't want to do a 15-foot road,
I
but
don't
a
think they want to
50-foot
do
road.
Yeah. Okay. No. It was just a clarification. It was. It was specifically bed. I just wanted to understand that it was not. There was never a point that an easement is required across private property. It was interestingly noted as parking spots, which I don't.
Right, and this is in the right of way, so I'm curious about that too. But this also could have come out of the planning board. I mean, I didn't read the entire planning board meetings because this is a drainage channel. You know,
Right,
I don't
yeah,
know what's going on here.
No, I get it, but it was. I can see it's not on anybody else's property. It just goes on an angle. Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if there's any setback required. So even okay.
No, it's just from the right. It's just from the right of way. Right.
Yep. Thank you.
Sure. Other questions? I don't see any chats. Okay. Going once. Going twice. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, here, any further questions from zoning board? Okay.
No.
All right, so hearing none, I'll make a motion to close.
Second.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second the motion, Tom.
Okay, seconded by Tom. All in favor, Dan, aye. Tom?
Aye.
Tricia?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Okay, great. Denise?
Okay, with regard to ZBA 20-55 applicant Lane re-subdivision plan, since the planning board noticed its intent to declare itself lead agency and distributed that notice of intention to all involved agencies, including the ZBA, who consented or did not object to the planning board acting as lead agency for this application pursuant to coordinated review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, Regulation 617.6B3. And the planning board conducted environmental review on May 27th, 2020, as set forth in PB number 20-17. And they rendered an environmental determination that no significant adverse environmental impact would result from the proposed land use. The ZBA is bound by the planning board's negative declaration and cannot require further secret review. If you have no questions or comments, a board member can adopt my legal opinion as a motion.
Now, Denise, how does that affect the environment stuff that was actually presented tonight, such as the New Jersey Historic Department of Conservation?
We did notify the borough, the abutting borough in New Jersey. Sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. I think we do that as a courtesy. Properties in New York. Not in
And
New Jersey.
items that were requested by the DEC. I mean, does that all fall under SECRA?
Well, yeah, but planning board conducted secret. And if they didn't get a response back to their letter, or maybe they're waiting and they're gonna get an answer for the next meeting. But see,
Okay. So all of
Yeah.
those environmental concerns such as wetlands and all that stuff goes back to the planning board based on, because they're the lead agency for secret.
yeah, well, number 17 dealt with that U.S. Army Corps of Engineer. Item number 17 in the planning board decision that said they got the permission to fill 1/10 of an acre. And that expires sometime in 2021, November of 2021.
Okay.
Certain time frame. The drainage consultant, they may have more questions that the applicant's working on for the next meeting as well that haven't been finished yet.
Okay. So I make a motion to adopt Denise's recommendation for secret. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Mike. All in favor, Dan, I, Mike,
aye.
Tricia,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Great. Mike, you want to make a motion?
Sure. It's a tough one, right? But I like to make a motion to approve the variance for lot area and the exception to New York State Law 280-A. Seems to be less of an impact, in my opinion, than the potential 3 existing non-conforming buildable lots that are in the same location for what we're looking at. That's much to it there.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Rob. All in favor, Mike,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Dan, I, Patricia.
Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, make a motion to close.
Second.
Second by Patricia. All in favor, Dan, I, Patricia.
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Great.
Good night,
This
everybody.
conference is no longer being recorded.